Chapter 817, Chasing a Girl or a Foundling Expert. Chapter 817, Chasing a Girl or a Foundling Expert. The moment they walked out of the formation, many people looked at Long Fei. Who is this person? Have you seen this man? Why does he look like a black refugee? Is it someone from our God Emperor Academy? Is he poisoned? Senior brother, were you poisoned? Do you need help? Long Fei was very black. It was so dark that you couldn't even recognize it. If you stayed in the desert for a month, you would be very dark without any protection from the sun. Long Fei was now like this. Long Fei said, "Thank you, junior sister. I was not poisoned." Finished. Long Fei immediately rushed towards the mission hall, his head lowered. He did not dare meet anyone. On the way, everyone who saw him couldn't help but glance at him. Their minds were filled with doubts. Who is this guy? There's actually such a dark person in this world. Could it be demons? Long Fei ran to the mission hall, walked to the mission window, and said, "Hand in the mission." It was still the little junior sister who gave him the dew pellet the last time they met. She recognized Long Fei with a single glance and laughed out loud when she saw how dark Long Fei's face was. "Senior brother, are you that suntanned?" Long Fei also laughed and said, "The dew pellet that you gave me last time was used well, and you refined it pretty well too." Last time, if she didn't give him the dew pellet, Long Fei really wouldn't have been able to hold on. He felt extremely grateful in his heart. Long Fei was the first to say that her alchemy refinement was not bad. She stuck out her small tongue and said, "Thank you, senior brother, for your praise." Long Fei took out the 9-flower fairy grass and said, "It's not a compliment. It's really not bad." The little junior sister was a little shocked when she received the 9-flower fairy grass and muttered, "So this is a 9-flower fairy grass. She's so beautiful. It doesn't look the same no matter how many flowers there are." Long Fei said, "The next time I go to the desert, I will give one to you." The little junior sister giggled and said, "Thank you, senior brother, but I still feel sorry for you. It's too dark, ha ha ha." She couldn't help but laugh. The smile was very bright and happy. After handing in the mission, Long Fei's alchemy points had reached 50, and he was still 250 points away from entering the alchemy competition. He muttered to himself, "A B-grade mission requires a month's time. There's still a month before I can't register. I have to hurry up. I can't take on missions like searching for items in the future. It's too difficult." Long Fei did not want to spend another month to complete a quest. The time cost was too high, and the reward was too low. Moreover, this time, he only broke through one level every month. This was unacceptable to Long Fei. Next time, you must upgrade it with a task. To enter some deep mountains and swamps, one had to enter a place filled with demon beast. After handing in the mission, Long Fei laid on the ground and looked at the little junior sister. "I saw that you were a little unhappy just now. What's wrong?" The little junior sister said, "It's nothing. I became happy when I saw senior brother, and he even said some words to reward me. I became even more happy." "Hee hee," Long Fei said. "If you have anything you're unhappy about, you can tell me. If I can help you, I will definitely help you." The little girl was not bad. Most importantly, she had helped him. It was nice talking to her. Little junior sister was moved to a complete mess as she said, "Thank you, senior brother." Long Fei laughed and said, "I live in the logistics department. If there is anything you need, you can look for me there. I'm leaving first." The little junior sister nodded and said, "I'll remember it." When Long Fei walked out of the mission hall, Yan Huang Ancestor said, "Little miss, you almost had to marry her. Look at how touched she is." "Brat, I didn't expect you to be an expert in picking up girls." Indeed, the little junior sister was indeed moved to a complete mess by Long Fei. Long Fei looked at him with disdain. Ancestor, can you not think the same as you? This girl is not bad. If not for his dew pellet, I would have died in Shili Desert. Yan Huang Ancestor said, I still don't know about you. You must be interested in me. Tell me, how do you want to win her over? Uft, you old pervert, your thoughts are too filthy. Beasts are inferior to even a little girl, yet you can think of such a thing. Long Fei started to despise her ruthlessly. He really did not have such thoughts. It was just praise, simple gratitude. And that little junior sister was really not bad. A person with a sweet, clean, white face would reveal 2 dimples when they smiled, making people feel comfortable. Logistics department. When the Sun Data went out to do some work, it was only Long Fei. Long Fei entered the door not even a minute ago. Wang Qingshan rushed over in a hurry, looking at Long Fei, who was so dark that he could not recognize him. He was stunned for a moment. Who are you? Long Fei. After reacting for half a second, Wang Qingshan burst out, laughing loudly. Ha 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 ha. Long Fei, you're Long Fei. Ha ha ha. It's so funny. You deserve it. Long Fei did not understand. How did I get what I deserved? Wang Qingshan stretched out his right hand. His right hand was bleeding profusely, and his whole hand was covered in calluses. Long Fei looked at Wang Qingshan with a strange gaze and said, Damn, is your pipe reinforced? You've already rolled up your hands like this? Wang Qingshan said, What bullsh** tea? I've been hurt so badly by you. Come with me right now. If you don't follow me, I really kneel for you. As he spoke, he felt like crying. This month, he was really going to collapse. If Long Fei did not return, he really had to go to Shili Desert to find Long Fei. Long Fei said, Damn, how did I harm you? Don't spout nonsense. Just do as you're told. Don't. Suddenly, Long Fei thought about the pavilion master of the Wilds family and his special hobby, Zhang Qingtian, and felt a chill in his heart. He immediately retreated a few steps and looked at Wang Qingshan. Wang Qingshan was stunned. You don't say so much. Wang Qingshan suddenly went forward and grabbed onto Long Fei's hand and said, Just follow me. If I hand you over, I'll be safe. He grabbed Long Fei tightly, as if he was afraid that Long Fei would run away. Long Fei looked at the small forest in front of him and said, Senior Brother Wang, you won't drag me into the small forest, will you? I'm really not gay. How about I accept an old friend for you? He likes whips, drops of wax, chains, and so on. Let me introduce you to him. He's hungry right now. Wang Qingshan completely ignored him. Right now, he wished that he could immediately bring Long Fei in front of Aoya so that he could be free from this predicament. Chapter 818, Comprehending Semi-God Steps. Chapter 818, Comprehending Semi-God Steps. After struggling for a long time, Wang Qingshan still did not let go. He no longer wanted to practice the sword drawing arts, and just thinking about it made him want to vomit. Seeing his expression, Long Fei really thought he was gay. He wanted to puke when he thought of Zhang Qingtian. After passing through the small forest, Long Fei was slightly relieved and said, Senior Brother Wang, just tell me, where are you bringing me to exactly? Wang Qingshan replied, You'll know once we get there. Wang Qingshan dragged Long Fei and walked in the direction of the College of War Martial Arts. On the way, there was a flurry of discussion. Isn't he a black man who just entered the Academy's wind cloud list? Why is he stopped by another senior brother? And so tightly at that, what is he trying to do? Does he have a special hobby? No, it should be because the senior brother's hobbies are a little special, and he likes it even when he likes it like this. Outside, the mysterious black senior brother was forcefully taken away by another senior brother. Tonight is destined to be an extraordinary night. Other than his nickname, Half an hour ago, Long Fei immediately charged to the 7th place on the wind cloud list like a black man. Now, in less than 10 minutes, he had once again made it to the 5th place on the wind cloud list. Fortunately, there were no newspapers or media in this world. Otherwise, he would definitely have to go on the headlines tomorrow. Bringing Long Fei to Aoya's residence, Wang Qingshan said, "Go in." Long Fei was suspicious. "Where are we?" Wang Qingshan said. "You can go in." Since he is here, Long Fei will enter as well. When he stepped into the courtyard, Wang Qingshan immediately closed the door and shouted, "Teacher Aoya, I have brought him to you. Please do not let me practice the sword-drawing arts again." With that, he locked the door. Wang Qingshan said, "Young Master Long, I'm sorry I've been hurt by you for a month, and if you don't come back soon, I'll collapse. Don't worry, Teacher Aoya is indeed strict, but she won't kill you. Oya was indeed strict, but she never made fun of a student's life." Based on Wang Qingshan's understanding of Oya's teacher, Long Fei would definitely receive a round of punishment. It would probably be very miserable, but his life wouldn't be in danger. Wang Qingshan glanced at the courtyard and murmured, "Young Master Long, you have to hold on." Finished. Wang Qingshan then walked away. Hearing Wang Qingshan's words, Long Fei finally understood that this was Aoya's residence. "Grand duelist, my sword force King Kong." Long Fei trembled slightly. The mission has already passed 2 months, but there is no progress on Sword Force King Kong at all, and Long Fei took a look at the affability level with Aoya. Minus 199 points. This is the pace of a mission failing. Perfect. I am going to look for Sword Force King Kong and see if there is any way to take her down. I can go check if Black Knife Uncle is really arrogant Knife King Kong or not. Long Fei was thinking about this matter. It was very simple to look at the yard. There was a plum tree, a few pots of flowers and grass, and on the other side was a small training field. Martial arts arena's floor tiles had been wiped white. His footsteps were very special. Long Fei looked at it, and then shivered. This step is so sharp. Looks like this floor tile has been worn down for at least more than 10 years. Long Fei tried to practice it. Ding! Comprehension failed. Huh! The system suddenly sounded out. Long Fei was secretly shocked to think that he failed to comprehend it. Then this set of steps must have exceeded my imagination. Following that, Long Fei grinned. "I want to see how powerful your steps are." Every step he took gave him a different feeling. Furthermore, every time he took a step, Long Fei felt a strong sword intent rushing towards him. Very powerful. Ding! Comprehension failed. Ding! Comprehension failed. The system kept beeping. The more defeated Long Fei was, the more he would not admit defeat. I don't believe it either. His footsteps grew faster and faster, and the aura of sword intent grew stronger and stronger. As he swam, his hands also moved incessantly, as if they were grabbing onto a sword, unceasingly releasing sword moves along with his footsteps. Buzz. Rumble. Explosions sounded out in the air, and the more Long Fei trained, the more shocked he became. This set of steps is really strong. Furthermore, it's uncertain. One could take the first step, the second step, or go from the first step all the way to the third step and skip a step. Ding! Comprehension failed. The system was still ringing with the sounds of failure. The more Long Fei refused to accept this, the more he continued to cultivate, and in his mind, he had already memorized more than 10 sword moves and steps, and was continuously analyzing them. After an hour, ding! Congratulations, player. Long Fei, for comprehending the ethereal footwork. You have gained 100 experience points, 100 power of celestial points, and 100 special points. Do you wish to cultivate it? Long Fei thought to himself, cultivate. Immediately, a new skill was added to the Chi method bar. Looking at the description given by the ethereal footwork, Long Fei was slightly shocked as he thought to himself, to think that I would need to spend an hour to comprehend the steps to reach the divine half-god level. He was able to comprehend an immortal-grade semi-god cultivation technique in an hour. This is heaven-defying. Aoya had trained for a full 16 years, starting from the moment she started training in this set of ethereal footwork. However, up until now, she didn't dare to say that she had completely comprehended it. Long Fei only used an hour. The only thing that could be said was that it was abnormal. If Aoya knew about this, she would probably want to tie Long Fei up here. An unexpected harvest. Long Fei laughed. The ethereal footwork, from now on, it is my Long Fei's special steps for sword moves, hee. At this time, Long Fei glanced at the courtyard. You haven't come back yet? Teacher Oya? Long Fei called out again. The door to the hall was open, but there was no reply. Oya? Long Fei shouted once more, but there was still no response. Long Fei muttered, Why are you not coming back at this time? At this time, Long Fei was not as reserved as he was before, walking straight into the hall and calling out again, Aoya? Seems like he really isn't here. Just as Long Fei was about to leave, he heard a sound coming from the right room. He walked over and stretched his head out to take a look, and his entire body felt like he had been electrocuted. Blood was coming out of his nose. Aoya was taking a bath. Moreover, she had fallen asleep. Half of her twin peaks were exposed, and the petals in the bath barrel weren't dense. One could vaguely see her body. Wah, ka, a benefit? Long Fei's heart grew excited. He had to say that Aoya's body was extremely sharp, like a chest, buttocks, and buttocks. Furthermore, her cold eyes made countless of men feel like conquering her. Young killer. Gudong. Long Fei's atoms apple bobbed up and down slightly, and the aura on his body also changed. At this moment, Aoya suddenly opened her eyes and shouted, Who is it? Long Fei's mind tensed up. Crap. Chapter 8:19, Challenge the Sword Master. Chapter 8:19, Challenge the Sword Master. Oya was tired. This month, she was really tired. Every day, she would be in a state where she could break her scalp, and then she would be constantly cultivating the insight into sword skill and the mysterious footwork that her father had taught her. After superimposing the insight into sword skill, she would be able to have a breakthrough and would be trapped in a sword Dao maze without being able to leave. She didn't like this kind of situation. Since she was troubled by a problem, it also made her unable to progress in her steps. Since she couldn't find a way out, she could only train with all her might. For the rest of the day, she did not have much time to rest. She could only soak in the medicinal bath in the afternoon, allowing her body to quickly recover. She also fell into a deep slumber. This was the only time she rested during the day. It was also because of this that she slept soundly. She did not hear Long Fei yell at all, but it was just that. She sensed a trace of the opposite sex. At first, when he thought that Wang Qingshan was looking for her, he was enraged and wanted to say something. But when he realized that the person in the door was not Wang Qingshan, he became even more furious. Boom! The water splashed like swords towards Xiang Longfei. Water splashed on the door frame, and Long Fei instantly retreated backwards. Whoosh whoosh. Asterisk Aoya also grabbed a few seconds' time and flew up from the bath barrel. She didn't have time to grab the clothes properly and rolled her body, covering the most important part of her body. Following that, shwa, wang. The sword intent on his body suddenly exploded as his sword thrust out. Pervert, give me your life. Indeed, Aoya would not take her disciple's life as a joke. But if he took a bath and got peeked at, then it would be a different story. Boom. A powerful sword intent rushed toward Xiang Longfei, causing Longfei's idea to shiver. The sword intent of the infinite sword was also angered and immediately combusted, directly colliding with it. The clash between the sword sage and the heavenly sword goddess? Sword intent versus sword intent. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions continuously sounded in the air as sword intent clashed. The two sword intents were equally matched, and Long Fei's sword intent was even slightly stronger. However, Long Fei was at a disadvantage in terms of cultivation. His cultivation was only at the 9th level of the Wild Immortal Realm, while Aoya was already in the Blood Immortal Realm. Therefore, even if the sword intent had the advantage, Long Fei was still forced to retreat by the cultivation that Aoya had released. Crash! The door was punctured and split into pieces. A thin, round sword thrust out. It locked onto the space between Long Fei's eyebrows. Long Fei was shocked. "You want my life?" His heart exploded. Level 5 unparalleled. Open. Boom. At the same time, he released the ethereal footwork, causing his body to look like an illusion. He moved erratically and cleverly to avoid Aoya's sword. He landed in the middle of the yard. Aoya was startled. Seeing the familiar pace that Long Fei displayed, her heart sank. "Who are you, black man?" Long Fei stabilized his body and said again and again, I'm not a black man. I was brought here by someone." Aoya glared at him and said, "You still dare to quibble? Not only did you peek at me taking a bath, you also peeked at me practicing my sword moves. If you don't explain yourself today, I want you to lie here." With that, Aoya rushed forward once again, her sword moves becoming even more powerful. She had a fiery temper. She would strike at the slightest disagreement, not giving Long Fei the chance to explain at all. Long Fei used the ingenuity of the ethereal footwork to dodge another strike, and said, "Aoya, I really didn't see anything just now." Aoya stared at Long Fei and said, "Can't you see?" Then, "Is my chest big?" Long Fei didn't have any hesitation to think, and directly replied, "How preposterous! Then you actually said you didn't see it." Aoya was even more angry. The sword in her hand began to change constantly. Her steps also started to use the ethereal footwork. Long Fei was startled, then said, "All of the students of the God Emperor Academy know that you have a big chest. Could it be that your chest is small?" You actually said I have a small chest." Aoya said angrily. Long Fei was truly speechless. What kind of animal are women? Big Chest wanted to hit him, but Small Chest also wanted to hit him. Aoya continued to attack. Her moves were stronger than her previous one. Moreover, the powerful sword intent was surging from all directions, causing the defending Long Fei to be unable to withstand it. However, Aoya didn't use a single realm to crush him. She did not like using her cultivation level to crush others. What she liked was using her sword intent to crush others. Long Fei was very angry. Long Fei landed in the same place and said, "Don't force me. Don't think that I wouldn't dare to retaliate just because you're a teacher. Let me explain once more. I didn't see anything just now. And as for your footwork, I've only learned it for an hour." Long Fei said truthfully, "Of course." The front was a bit fake, but he did see something he shouldn't have seen. As for the ethereal footwork, he had really only learned it for an hour. Aoya was startled. "An hour? I think you must have been using your steps for at least a few years, but you only talked about it for an hour? Kid, you don't blush just because you look so much more black and lying. You still want to backstab." Aoya's eyes were filled with anger as she said, "You are at the 9th level of the crazy immortal realm, so I will suppress my cultivation to the 9th level of the crazy immortal realm. Now go back and beat me if you can. I won't pursue what happened today, but if you can't beat me, then tell me everything. She would cultivate the footwork her father had just taught her every day, and it would take her at least a few years to reach the level Long Fei had just released. An hour? Even a super genius wouldn't be able to do it. Furthermore, this was a set of sword stance steps. Only when paired with a sword move could it unleash a strong power. No one could grasp this set of steps within an hour. No one. Long Fei looked at Aoya seriously and said, "Is this really necessary?" Oya said, "Why? Are you scared? It's fine if you're scared, but explain to me about you secretly learning my footwork. Who actually sent you here?" A student would definitely not dare to do such a thing. Someone must be instigating him from behind the scenes. Long Fei said, "I'm not afraid. I'm only afraid of breaking your big fart. You are courting death." Long Fei walked to the plum tree and tore off a plum branch. The branch moved, pointed at Aoya, and said slightly, "Then come, let's see how I'll open your big fart. Don't cry out in pain when the time comes." Long Fei was annoyed. Since he couldn't explain it, he would just use force to crush him. A powerful woman like Oya was useless using any other means. She could only use brute force to ruthlessly crush her, riding on top of her body and beating her ass. Let's see if she still dared to act arrogantly. Instantly, Long Fei's aura moved, and the sword intent of the infinite sword combusted. However, his moves were exactly the same as Aoya's. Oya was infuriated. "Not only did you secretly learn to walk, you also secretly learned my sword moves. If that's the case, you won't be able to leave today." Chapter 8:20 Beating Little Bullshit Blooming. Chapter 8:20 Beating Little Bullshit Blooming. Let's see who won't be able to leave today. Long Fei looked at Aoya and thought, "I will use your grand duelist's move to conquer you. I'll see what else you have to say." Aoya did not recognize Long Fei, because Long Fei was really too evil. If he had recognized Long Fei, this might not be the case. Oya suddenly moved to the side. Her steps were ethereal, clean, and quick. It was a very baptism. At the same time, Long Fei did the same thing. Exactly the same. Aoya was furious. She quickened her steps. The slender sword in her hand suddenly thrust out with lightning speed. Shwa! The sound of something tearing through the air rang out through the air, very sharp. Long Fei did not attack, but instead moved. His body did not dodge, but instead rushed forward. The plum branch in his hand blocked the attack in that moment. Shwa! After slightly breaking Aoya's sword move, his technique was extremely fast. The instant he broke the Oya sword, the plum branch moved and pierced towards Aoya's chest. Aoya slightly frowned. She was shocked. What a fast reaction speed. Seeing Long Fei's plum branch heading towards her, her steps changed yet again as her figure blurred, and she arrived at Long Fei's right side. Her long sword moved, and she thrust it out another time. Aoya's reaction speed was not slower than Long Fei's. Moreover, the sword intent from her body remained at her peak state as she completely immersed herself in it. In God Emperor Academy, her understanding of the way of the sword could be said to be number one. In terms of sword techniques, she did not lose out to anyone. So fast. Long Fei was secretly surprised. His body suddenly moved, dodging the attack. After his attack failed, Aoya stared at Long Fei and asked, "Who exactly are you?" None of the students in the arrogant immortal state had the ability to continuously and ingeniously dodge his sword moves. Long Fei did not say anything. Aoya said, "Since you don't want to speak, I will fight until you do." Insight into sword skill. Suddenly, Aoya's eyes flashed with a sharp light. The sword intent on her body instantly changed. A powerful sword intent enveloped Long Fei's entire body. Left shoulder. Insight into weaknesses. Aoya increased her pace, thrusting out her sword. At the same time she used the insight into sword skill, Long Fei also used it, and his understanding of the insight into sword skill was far higher than Aoya's. Before Aoya discovered his weakness, Long Fei had already thrusted out the plum branch in her hand. Left side, shua. With a light thrust, Long Fei retracted his right hand, and the plum branch moved again like a spirit serpent. Shua. Another sword. Chest. Shua. He released the third sword attack. At the same time the third sword strike landed, Long Fei smiled and said, "Critical hit." Buzz. At this moment, the plum branch seemed to have transformed into a sword. The moment it stabbed into Aoya's chest, a majestic force suddenly exploded forth, directly striking her chest. Bam! One strike. Long Fei smiled slightly. After superimposing it, Slay will appear. Aoya's body exploded as she retreated. She was completely unable to hold on. In the end, she had no choice but to raise her cultivation. Even someone in the blood immortal stage was unable to endure it. The impact it had on her was too great. This kind of strength could not be described with words. With the same sword technique and the same footwork, she had lost. However, the moment she retreated, Long Fei did not stop there. This kind of woman must be domineering towards her and use the strongest method to crush her. She could not get up from the ground because she wanted to use this method to conquer her. Victory. Thus, from the very beginning, Long Fei had been learning the big move of the unparalleled sword technique. It was to repeat the technique from before. Blade waltz. Seeing that Aoya had stabilized her body, Long Fei laughed. "Look carefully." At the same time, ding! A system notification rang out. Long Fei did not care that his comprehension and release was successful. He could not take it anymore. Stepping with the misty steps, his body moved like an illusion and started to twist frantically, blade waltz. Shua. Long Fei suddenly disappeared. Aoya's eyes were startled. She could not feel Long Fei's existence. However, she didn't just sit there and wait for death. The aura of the blood immortal realm erupted out of her, and her body continued to change. However, it doesn't matter how much you change once you've got the blade waltz locked on. Pa! When the plum branches hit Aoya's little, but a thin layer of gauze wrapped around her body. There weren't many clothes covering her body, so the plum branches were very flexible, causing her body to be in extreme pain. Ah! Aoya screamed out in pain. Long Fei also followed and shouted, "I called you arrogant." Pa! The sky blurred. Another tree branch came whipping down and hit Aoya's, but Oya screamed again, in so much pain she couldn't take care of herself. Long Fei then said, "I called you Long Ao." Pa! After another strike, Aoya's painful tears were about to flow out. Her little fart was about to bloom. No matter how she tried to dodge, it was useless. Still not good enough. There was no way to dodge at all. Pa, pa, pa! A few consecutive blows landed. Oya's little fart was covered with red stripes and a heart-wrenching pain. Finally, Aoya couldn't help but say, "Stop fighting. Stop fighting." After the slay, her defense had broken down and her injuries had multiplied. So Long Fei was able to complete the task in a short period of time. Hearing the sound of begging, Long Fei slightly loosened his grip and his steps moved to a relatively safe place. The reason why he could win against Aoya just now was because he had been caught unprepared. Aoya was also confused by Long Fei releasing her sword moves. Otherwise, Long Fei would not be her match. A steamroll of realms was already enough to defeat Long Fei. Long Fei said coldly, "Can you calm down a little now?" Aoya grimaced in pain. unable to move. Her two hands couldn't help but rub her butt. Long Fei laughed. Who doesn't know how to walk? Aoya stared at Long Fei, not showing any of the anger she had at first. Instead, she asked, "You're Long Fei?" Now, she finally recognized Long Fei. Long Fei said, "If you don't fight, you won't be able to recognize me." Aoya's forehead sank, rubbing her little fart. She immediately said, "Tell me, how do you know about the superimposition of the insight into sword method?" In an instant, another person had appeared. There was no anger, what peeping at her taking a bath, secretly learning her sword skills, steps, these were no longer important. What she wanted to know now was how Long Fei knew all these. Moreover, just now, Long Fei had seen through her weakness first, and the moment the third sword strike landed, she felt a power that she had never felt before. Overlay? This was the true superposition. That's not right. It should be a superimposed move. Aoya anxiously asked. After superimposing it, you will obtain the sleigh. How did you do it? Tell me, tell me. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Guess." Chapter 8:21, Supercritical Strike. Chapter 8:21, Supercritical Strike, outside the yard. There were many disciples of college of war martial arts surrounding them. Everyone whispered to each other about what had happened. I only saw Wang Qingshan bringing a black man into Teacher Oya's courtyard. He hasn't come out even after almost 2 hours. What exactly happened? Why was Teacher Oya screaming just now? Could it be? An unsuitable image of a child appeared in his mind as he instantly denied it. Goddess Aoya is extremely powerful. No one can conquer her. I think we should go in and see who exactly dares to bully Teacher Oya. And he was being bullied so badly. They were all Oya's admirers. However, they didn't dare to jump half a step into the lightning pool. Without permission, they absolutely didn't dare to enter Aoya's yard. They could only wait quietly outside the yard. At this moment, a voice came from behind the crowd. What happened? All of the disciples' faces became cold as they quickly opened up a path. The person walking towards them was a young man around 30 years old. He wore a clean white robe and had a handsome appearance. Moreover, he always had a faint smile on his face. "Teacher Ouyang." A disciple immediately bowed respectfully. Ouyang Jian, the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts training instructor, was also the Azure Dragon principal's only son. He was publicly acknowledged to be a match made in heaven with Aoya. Both were a match made in heaven, and they both cultivated the way of the sword. His attack was extremely powerful. He had also admired her for a long time, and he believed that it wouldn't be long before she became his wife. He also believed that he was the only one worthy of Oya. Ouyang Jian was gentle and refined, and was also the male god in the eyes of many girls in God Emperor Academy, the kind of male god that would make people scream. Ouyang Jian walked to the front and asked, "What happened?" A student said, reporting to teacher, "Ouyang, Teacher Oya's scream came from the courtyard. We don't know what happened." A student said, 2 hours ago, Teacher Oya's disciple, Wang Qingshan, brought a black man into the courtyard. He hasn't come out for 2 hours now. Don't spout nonsense. What black guy? Why didn't I see him? Maybe it was the African screaming earlier. The surrounding people started to discuss. No matter how good Ouyang Jian's recuperation was at this time, his expression was also a little ugly. The entire God Emperor Academy didn't know that he was pursuing Aoya. Who would dare to compete with him? There was actually a student, and a black one at that. How could he bear it? Immediately, Ouyang Jian walked forward, cleared his throat, and said, "Junior sister Aoya, are you all right?" He didn't dare to recklessly enter the courtyard. He knew Oya's temper very well. In the yard, Aoya looked at Long Fei. Her current thoughts were all on Long Fei. How did you do it? Tell me. Hearing the voice coming from outside the yard, Oya immediately became angry. I'm fine. Don't bother me. And then he just ignored it. Oya asked again, what was your last move? Why have I never seen it before? And why is it that no matter how I dodge it, it's useless? At this moment, Ouyang Jian then said, Junior sister Aoya, I'm coming in. Oya impatiently shouted, I told you to go. Didn't you hear me? Don't bother me. She was really annoyed with Ouyang Jian. The only thing she wanted to know was how Long Fei did it. But since Long Fei didn't say it, coupled with the fact that Ouyang Jian was here, she became even more agitated. Clang! The courtyard door was pushed open. Ouyang Jian really couldn't hold it back. He wanted to know who was Aoya talking to. He wanted to know who had eaten the heart of a bear and courage to steal his woman. The moment he opened the door, the disciples outside all stuck their heads out to look at the courtyard, wrapped in a bathrobe. His hair was still wet. The African man was also somewhat wet. He looked exhausted. There was a complacent look on his face. It was as if he had just taken down a certain goddess. At this moment, countless young men's hearts shattered. A few people even fainted. No, the goddess Oya would not like a black man. How is that possible? It's been 2 hours. Could it be that I don't want to live anymore. There's no meaning in living anymore. Oh my God, why is he black? Teacher, Aoya's terrible cry just now. Could it be? My God, why exactly why? The scene in the courtyard was reminiscent of 2 hours of very discordant events, and probably in a mandarin duck bath. The goddess was taken by someone just like that. Moreover, he was also a black man. It was a blow to their skin, causing them to be unable to take care of themselves. The most pained ones were not them, but Ouyang Jian, who had already entered the courtyard. His heart felt like it was pierced by an arrow, and his entire body trembled in pain. Moreover, the anger in his heart instantly reached its peak as he stared fixedly at Long Fei and gritted his teeth as he said, Kid, who exactly are you? What did you do just now? His words were filled with rage, almost wanting to swallow Long Fei whole. Long Fei casually glanced at Ouyang Jian and said, I had a fight with her just now. Even my butt has been beaten red. What's wrong? The sky was dark. The critical hit damage of this sentence was simply 999,999,999 points. Ouyang Jian's footsteps trembled. He was almost unable to endure it. Furthermore, Aoya didn't refute his words. Instead, she took a step forward and tightly pulled on Long Fei's arm, saying, Tell me, why are you so strong? She looked completely like a little woman who was acting coquettishly. She wanted to know why Long Fei's sword moves were so strong. However, what Ouyang Jian seemed to mean was that Long Fei was very strong in that area. The world had collapsed. This wasn't a single arrow piercing his heart. It was 100,000 arrows piercing his heart. His heart was about to shatter into pieces. He couldn't even stand stably, and even began to doubt his own life. The disciples outside the door were in an even more uproar. Their thoughts were the same as Ouyang Jian. Hearing Oya's words, Why are you so strong? Completely shattered their last bit of hope. Several more disciples fainted. Long Fei said, Do you want to know? With a serious face, Aoya quickly nodded and said, Can you tell me? She really wanted to know. Urgent thoughts. If she could learn the superimposed sleigh, then her set of insight into sword skill would be considered complete. At this time, Long Fei was like her lifesaver. He held on tightly, refusing to let go even if he died. Long Fei thought for a moment, then said, If you want to know, that's fine. but be my woman. Pucci, Ouyang Jian spat out a mouthful of blood. Another critical hit. At this moment, Ouyang Jian could no longer endure. He roared and said, "Brat, do you take me as heir? Don't be too arrogant." Chapter 8:22. Bathing the Goddess. Chapter 8:22. Bathing the Goddess. He was so arrogant, so arrogant. Who dared to say such words in front of Aoya? Long Fei was the first. Moreover, Oya was not the first to be angered. On the other side, Ouyang Jian was extremely furious. He was as angry as a volcano erupting. The flames of fury soared to the sky. S. heart could not bear the continuous barrage of critical strikes. He finally exploded. With that step, he instantly appeared in front of Long Fei, his eyes filled with killing intent. However, without waiting for his cyan dragon swordess to come crashing down, Aoya's eyes opened wide. The sword intent instantly burst forth from her body, blocking Ouyang Jian's sword intent. Without waiting for Ouyang Jian to speak, Aoya looked at him and said, "I'm your woman, can you tell me?" No, no, no. Ouyang Jian's heart was at his throat as he pleaded. The disciples outside the courtyard also shouted, "Teacher Oya, please don't. Don't promise him. He's a beast. Don't ever agree to his request. I beg of you, please give us some hope." A series of shouts rang out. It really was the last hope. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Of course, as long as you become my woman, I will naturally tell you why I'm so strong. Hee hee." He wanted to know if it was because of this sentence that this sword forced King Kong, Aoya, would be subdued. I really want to know. She was the sixth King Kong. It was also possible that she was the only one out of the 8 great King Kong's women. Oya stayed silent for a few seconds, then nodded and said, "Okay, I promise you, I will be your woman." Puff! Ouyang Jian spat out another mouthful of blood. His eyes dimmed, and his heart hurt so much that he had lost consciousness. The hearts of the students outside the courtyard went deathly still, as if they had nothing to live for. Long Fei's eyes slightly closed. He wanted to wait for the system's notification to sound, but it did not. He checked the mission, and it was the same. There was no change. The only change was the affability level between Long Fei and Aoya had gone from 199 to 999. Long Fei's heart skipped a beat. Damn, what's going on? I was clearly using brute force to ruthlessly crush her. It can be considered to be a conquest. Why did the affability level become negative 999 points? Do you want to take my life? Long Fei said angrily in his heart. He could not understand. He wasn't a woman, so he naturally wouldn't understand. Moreover, it was not enough for a woman like Aoya to just rely on her martial power to crush him. And what was Long Fei doing? This was called robbing while the fire was hot, and it was one of the methods that Aoya hated the most. She only had one goal, the insight into sword method and the blade waltz. As for other things, she had never thought of them. Agreeing to Long Fei was also for the sake of the sword. Because she promised her father that she would definitely complete the insight into sword method. At this time, Long Fei's heart had also crumbled a little, and he said, "Do you know what you need to do to be my woman?" Aoya's face slightly darkened. "Tell me about it." Long Fei said, "The most basic point is to laugh. I like women who laugh. Their faces are always stiff. It is as if someone owes you money. I do not like it. Now laugh for me." She didn't like to laugh. Long Fei said, "It was a forced laugh, but today you have passed. How about this? Come to my place tomorrow. Wang Qingshan will tell you where I live, then we can take our time." Long Fei did not want to stay any longer. He was worried that the affability level would increase again. He had never met a woman with an affability level of 999 points, so he was a little unsure. If he couldn't conquer by force, then he had to find a new way. Aoya said slightly, "All right, I understand." Finished. Long Fei then walked out. Just as he walked to the door, he was stopped by Ouyang Jian, who asked, "What's your name?" "That disciple of the College of Martial Arts Training?" Long Fei slightly turned his head to look back and said, "My woman is very clear, you can ask her." With that, he left. 1 second kill. Such arrogance, such arrogance. However, Long Fei was not happy at all and did not take Sword Force King Kong down. Instead, he seemed to feel a trace of disgust from Aoya's eyes. He loathed the chance to rob people while they were still alive. However, since he had already reached such a state, Long Fei had no other choice but to try his best to keep a distance from Aoya and see her as much as possible. Only then would he be able to improve the current awkward situation. "Sword Force King Kong, what do I need to do to subdue you?" Long Fei exhaled a long breath in his heart. He couldn't find any solutions at the moment. Yan Huang Ancestor laughed. "And here I thought you were really an expert at picking up girls. I didn't expect you to have a hard time too. Ha ha ha." Long Fei glared contemptuously at the ancestor. In Aoya's courtyard, Ouyang Jian looked at Aoya with a pale face and said, "Junior sister apprentice, just now, you really—" Oya didn't wait for him to finish. She directly said, "Get out. In the future, you are not allowed to take even half a step into my yard without my permission." Ouyang Jian trembled. He clenched both his fists tightly, and all of the hatred in his heart completely fell onto Long Fei's body. And he said slightly, "Junior sister apprentice, then you should rest well. I'll be going out first." Walking out of the courtyard, he closed the door. Ouyang Jian roared in fury. Go find out immediately, who is that black man?" He had gone mad, and gone mad. The woman he loved had actually agreed to become someone else's woman. How could he endure this? "Just you wait, kid. I will let you know about my Ouyang Jian's methods." Ouyang Jian said fiercely in his heart, In the yard." Oya was stunned on the spot, the corners of her eyes moist. Once upon a time, she had watched her father die under the sword of someone she knew well. Once upon a time. It was also because of this method of Long Fei's. Hatred faintly emerged from her heart. No matter if it was Long Fei's intention or what it was, she only had one goal: to perfect the insight into sword skill. "Father, just you wait. I will definitely avenge you. I swear to God." Aoya clenched her fists. Her nails dug into the flesh, and dark red blood dripped down. The reason why Long Fei failed was because he didn't know Oya, didn't know her past. Li Yuanba knew about Li Yuanba's success, Lin Yusheng, his source spirit, and the Arhut's success. As for Aoya, Long Fei did not know about her past. The next day, God Emperor Academy was in an uproar as the goddess Oya became a black woman. This topic directly rushed to the top of the wind and cloud ranking. The hearts of countless young men were shattered as well. Also, one more thing. The 3,000 plum trees at the back of the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training were sliced apart overnight by the incomparably sharp sword intent. The scene was a mess, as if the sword techniques were against the heavens. Everyone was discussing who this black man was. However, when one of them heard this news, he was so anxious that he was like an ant on a hot pan, hurriedly running towards logistics department. "It's over. It's over. It's all over." Chapter 8:23. Don't submit, just do it. Chapter 8:23. Don't submit, just do it. Long Fei got up very early and wanted to go over to Qiu Wandao's place to take a look. Qiu Wandao was the contact point for Long Fei, Chen Tianfei, and Man Tualuo. Before he could even walk out of the courtyard gate, he was stopped by Wang Qingshan. It's over, it's all over. Wang Qingshan grabbed Long Fei, his face full of panic, and said, Long Fei, you've gotten into big trouble. Long Fei was puzzled. Senior fellow apprentice Wang, why are you singing today? I brought me to Oya's place yesterday. What do you want to do today? I'm telling you, I'm really not gay, Wang Qingshan said in a serious tone. You're still in the mood to joke at a time like this? Let me ask you, are the rumors outside true? Long Fei didn't know what kind of rumors were going around, nor did he know that the entire God Emperor Academy was in an uproar. Almost half of the people in the God Emperor Academy were looking for him. He had to skin Long Fei alive. Just like that, they took down the cold goddess in their hearts. Did they even need to live anymore? Long Fei asked, what is the rumors about the outside world? You still don't know? Wang Qingshan slapped his brain and said, I really admire you. What happened in teacher Aoya's courtyard yesterday afternoon? You forgot so quickly? Tell me the truth. Did you really do this to teacher Oya? Long Fei replied, Nothing, just a beating. Wang Qingshan's gaze darkened as he looked at Long Fei as if he was looking at a monster. If Long Fei had not said it himself, he definitely would not have believed it. Oh my God! Wang Qingshan's little heart could not take it any longer, and she continued, Let's not talk about this anymore. The fight had already started, and what had happened was already happening. Wang Qingshan was truly regretful, and should not have brought Long Fei to teacher Aoya's courtyard. He was full of regret now. Wang Qingshan continued, Do you want teacher Oya to be your woman? And you even agreed to it in front of Ouyang Jian? Long Fei nodded her head. Right, that's right. Why isn't Aoya here? She said that she's here to learn sword techniques with me. Why isn't she here? Wang Qingshan's body shook and started to tremble lightly. He looked at Long Fei and said, Young Master Long, this time you've really gotten into a lot of trouble. Long Fei said, Senior fellow apprentice, please be clear, how did I get into big trouble? Wang Qingshan said, Do you know who Ouyang Jian is? What's your identity? Long Fei did not mind. What does his status have to do with me? Wang Qingshan said. He is a teacher for the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training and the son of the Azure Dragon's principal. This is not even the most important thing. The most important thing is that he is the school's recognized Oya's fiancé, a match made between him and Oya, a perfect match made in heaven. Moreover, I heard that he is already at the stage of discussing marriage. You stole Oya away from Ouyang Jian. Long Fei, I have to say, I really admire you. Wang Qingshan was truly impressed. However, Long Fei had truly provoked someone he shouldn't have. At this moment, Han Xueji, Dao Feng, Zhang Qingsong had also rushed to logistics department. Ha ha ha. Young Master Long is powerful and domineering. Even Goddess, Aoya was taken by you. You are too overbearing. I really admire you so much. Zhang Qingsong said excitedly. Dao Feng's physique was exceptional, and after a month of recovery, he had more or less recovered. The reason he was doing so well so quickly was because he wanted to use the 2 blades that Long Fei gave him to cultivate as soon as possible. Dao Feng walked forward and asked, Long Fei, is all of this true? Han Xueji began to giggle. My man is mighty, he is domineering. Long Fei looked at their nervous expressions and asked, Is the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training that strong? To provoke Ouyang Jian, it was equivalent to provoking the entire Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training. Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training, the strongest college of martial arts training in God Emperor Academy, was even stronger than the White Tiger College of Martial Arts Training in terms of combat strength. The Azure Dragon Battle Team of the 1st Battle Squad, the Sword Spirit Battle Group of the 2nd Group, these 2 groups were from the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training. In the team rankings, the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training had always been in the top 2. His fighting strength was extraordinary, a terrifying existence. Moreover, Ouyang Jian's face was now swept across the floor. His own woman had been snatched away by someone. How could he take this lying down? They would definitely suppress Long Fei. This was also because of Long Fei's darkness. For a moment, no one recognized him. Dao Feng said, "Strong, strong, ridiculously strong." The disciples of the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training S are the top existences in the entire God Emperor Academy, and out of the top 10 teams, formed by the disciples of the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training S, there are only 6 members of the Azure Dragon Squadron who are ranked first. These 6 are the best among the students. Moreover, they are all Ouyang Jian's students. Listening to Dao Feng's words, Long Fei said blandly, "Damn, then we've really gotten into trouble," Wang Qingshan said. "I did get into big trouble." "Right." Long Fei took out an exquisite little dagger from his chest pocket and handed it over to Han Xueji, saying, "Senior sister, this time I didn't get any good stuff. This dagger is very compatible with you, so I left it for you." Han Xueji looked at the Scorpion King dagger in Long Fei's hands and was shocked. "For me?" The dagger was clearly no ordinary item. Han Xueji lacked this kind of dagger, and upon seeing this dagger, he immediately liked it. Long Fei replied, "This is for you." Han Xueji was moved and said, "Damn you, saying such words will make me fall in love with you." Following that, Long Fei took out the Scorpion Queen's egg and gave it to Zheng Qingsong. "You're training in an array, close combat is your weakness. With this egg, you can hatch and train. I should be able to help you fight." Zheng Qingsong was also deeply moved. Dao Feng had dual blades, Han Xueji had daggers, Zheng Qingsong had Scorpion King War Pet. Wang Qingshan asked, "Young Master Long, what about me?" Long Fei said, Didn't you always want to cultivate the insight into sword skill? When Oya comes, I'll teach you together." Wang Qingshan was also instantly moved. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Do you still think that the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training is powerful? With these things, their overall strength would increase, and if it was really as they had said, Long Fei had to make some preparations to summon the super tank, Fatty Chen, into the Arrogant Dragon Squad. There were still 2 months until the Academy's tournament. They needed to make proper preparations. Long Fei became excited and said, "No matter how strong he is, no matter what their identity is, do not be afraid. Just do it. What Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, they all have to lie on the ground and become dead dogs in front of me." Long Fei was extremely arrogant. Azure Dragon, even the Azure Dragon ancestor, was within his body. Arrogant? Isn't he courting death? Everyone's blood began to boil. Chapter 8:24. Courting Death. Chapter 8:24. Courting death, although Long Fei was not afraid of the Azure Dragon Battle Team or the White Tiger College of Martial Arts Training, he knew that the Arrogant Dragon Squad's strength alone was not enough to deal with him. If they went up with this kind of strength in the team competition, it would be hard for them to enter the top 10 even if they had Holy Artifact S. The top 10 teams were too strong. To enter the top 10, Long Fei's Arrogant Dragon Squad was indeed a person. They lacked a supreme expert. Long Fei couldn't help but think of a girl as he muttered in his heart, "If only Song Chantian was here, then it would be fine." 10 minutes later, Long Fei said, "There's still 2 more months. Hurry up and cultivate." Everyone withdrew. Only Wang Qingshan stayed. Long Fei said, "You wait here, I'll go out and do nothing. If Aoya comes, you can let her wait with you." Finished. Long Fei then walked out. Wang Qingshan reminded him, "Young Master Long, please be careful." Call, in Qiu Wandao's courtyard. "Ha ha ha. Good kid, you're really sharp." Qiu Wandao excitedly laughed out loud and said, Aoya's woman is no ordinary one, to think that she was actually subdued by Long Fei. I have to say, he is truly very intrepid. Man, Tualuo said. Old Qiu, you're still laughing. Long Fei offended Ouyang Jian because of that. He is the son of the Azure Dragon's principal. The senior fellow apprentice of the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training has already released word. As long as he sees Long Fei cripple him, he will. Tianfei said, I'm afraid of him. How dare he touch my boss? Then let's see who can cripple who. Tianfei said fiercely. His current holy armor fairy vein had already broken through the 5th floor, and his defense was heaven-defying. Xiao Ying continued, not only the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training, but our College of War Martial Arts, the Spiritual Elixir Academy, the Refining Department, and the 18 generations of College of Martial Arts Training's boys practically wanted to suppress Long Fei as he's his public enemy. Knocking off the goddess, she instantly became the public enemy of the people. Qiu Wandao still could not hold back and laughed. As expected of a member of the Long family, you have balls. What's an Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training? If the 18 generations of College of Martial Arts Training dares to openly attack Long Fei, I will not forgive him, Qiu Wandao said in a domineering manner. He was already someone who had lived a life once, and was willing to throw caution to the wind. Moreover, his current cultivation had already reached the Golden Immortal Peak realm, and he was only missing 7 great immortal roots to break through to the Yuan Xian realm. For Long Fei, he could sacrifice his life. It was also at this time. Long Fei walked into the courtyard. When he saw that everyone was present, he immediately became excited and asked, Is everyone here? Fatty Chen rushed forward and said, Boss, you're too powerful. The entire academy is talking about you. Xiao Ying asked, Young Master Long, did you really take teacher Aoya down? Man Tualuo also curiously looked at Long Fei. Long Fei laughed bitterly and said, It's not as mysterious as what the outside world says. My relationship with Aoya is a little stiff. I have come here today to learn some things about Aoya's past from Elder Qiu. He had been thinking about it all last night. What went wrong? Why did it not succeed? It was one thing if he did not succeed, but the affability level had directly soared to 999 points. However, Long Fei did not know why, but he knew there must be a reason behind it. Something must have gone wrong with the quest segment. Qiu Wandao said slightly, Aoya is a publicly acknowledged sword genius in God Emperor Academy. If we were to talk about her past, she should be her father. Long Fei asked, Her father? Qiu Wandao said, Her father was once the principal of the God Emperor Academy and also a great sword teacher. He was God Emperor Academy's strongest swordsman. Later on, because of a matter, he angered an elder of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. The two of them shall duel. Father Ao, you had suffered a terrible defeat and died. Logically speaking, his cultivation level shouldn't have been that far off from that elder from Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Even if he lost, he wouldn't have died. I heard that it was because of that elder's scheme that her mother was hurt first. He was making use of the strategy of attacking the heart to make Oya's father's heart chaotic. It was also because of this that he was killed. Only the two of them know the details. Long Fei secretly thought, So that's how it is? Did I touch that nerve in her heart yesterday? Humph. Seems like if I want to collect fees from the Sword Force King Kong, I have to find a way to catch the elder from the Heavenly Hall of Immortals. Long Fei thought, Is this the key to the mission? After knowing all this, Long Fei's heart became more at ease. He looked at Qiu Wandao and asked, Old Qiu, how is your cultivation recovered? Qiu Wandao laughed excitedly. Brat, what's more, what a powerful skill. The azure-robed elder laughed as well. Awesome. The two of them were just short of tier 7 immortal roots. However, These Tier 7 immortal roots were even more precious than holy artifact. It would be extremely difficult to obtain a Tier 7 immortal root. Long Fei laughed. That's good. What about you? Long Fei looked at Fatty Chun and the others. The profound spirit chi on their bodies had also become much stronger, and their rapid improvement in God Emperor Academy was also due to Long Fei's provocation. Man, Tualuo said, I have already merged with the poison spirit immortal root that you gave me last time. I should be able to step into the virtual immortal stage before the great academy competition. Fatty Chin said, I still lack Tier 4 immortal roots. If I have immortal roots, I should be able to enter the virtual immortal stage before the large competition. Xiao Ying said, I am currently at the 3rd stage of crazy laughter. All of them had very large improvements. Long Fei said, All right, Fatty, I will think of a way to obtain your 4th grade immortal foundation. When the time comes, the two of you can join my arrogant dragon squad. Qiu Wandao stared blankly for a moment, then said, You brat, do you really want to clash head-on with the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training, White Tiger College of Martial Arts Training? Long Fei said, Even though I am now an official disciple, no college of martial arts training would dare to accept me. That day, I swore to trample all 18 generations of College of Martial Arts Training. I want to see just how strong the Pan family is, just how strong Gu Wuji is in God Emperor Academy. He had to step on it. If Blood Skeleton wanted to stomp the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training's team, if they dared to mess with him, he would do the same. In here, Long Fei needed to stir up a sensation in the God Emperor Academy. He needed to create a huge commotion to raise his visibility, raise the Long family's and the South Horizon region's visibility. Also, he needed money, and he did not have any clue as to how to research new medicine pills. He had to make a name for himself in the alchemy competition and make the Fengyuan Merchant Union represent him and rise to prominence. Qiu Wandao asked, What can we help you with? Huh. Long Fei stared blankly before saying, I almost forgot about you guys. How many people around me need to raise their cultivation? Can you help guide them? Long Fei thought of Dao Feng, Han Xueji, and the other two. Qiu Wandao laughed. No problem. I guarantee they will evolve within 2 months. Suddenly, an anxious voice sounded from outside the courtyard. Fan Tong's voice anxiously shouted, Young Master Long, it's bad, it's bad. The senior fellow apprentice of the Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training has already attacked the logistics department and injured him. Long Fei was instantly enraged and shouted, Damn it, Azure Dragon College of Martial Arts Training, you're courting death. 6 chapters in the morning, and if there was time in the afternoon, the sea would write a little more. Chapter 8:25, Crushing the Earth. Chapter 8:25, Crushing the Earth. He just said not to provoke him, and now he's coming. Moreover, the Green Dragon Matrial Hall had made a move on them, or had made a move on them. That would be even more so when touching Long Fei's divine level anger. Leader's son and the others did not have a high level of cultivation or talent, but they were the first group of brothers that Long Fei had met in the God Emperor Academy. It could be said that the Sun Datu and the rest had been of great help to Long Fei and was an indispensable force. Now that the Sun Data had been beaten up, Long Fei could not sit still for a moment. If you touch my brother, I will break that hand of his. Long Fei angrily rushed out. Chen Tianfei immediately said, Boss, wait for me. Xiaoying and Man Tualuo also quickly chased after him. Qiu Wandao slowly got up and said, It's time to go out and exercise. Otherwise, the people from God Emperor Academy would really think that we 2 old fellows have died. Elderly in green stood up. Let's go. Green Dragon Matrial Hall had a very high profile. Along the way, they followed many other disciples of the College of Martial Arts Training. They all wanted to see how Long Fei was crushed by the green dragon, Matrial Hall S. They all thought this was too vile. Why? Would a service disciple be able to lure their goddess away? Why? They couldn't accept it. The four of them were supposed to leave logistics department immediately, but now that they saw that Long Fei was not around, they felt relieved in their hearts. Speak, where did that bastard go? A young man in his early 20s grabbed onto Sun Dada's hair and pulled it up before smashing it onto the ground heavily. Bam! Sun Dada's nose was broken, blood spurted out, and said, "I don't know." In the yard, the dozen or so disciples of logistics department were all lying on the ground with painful expressions on their faces. Dao Feng, who had just arrived, walked out and said, "Senior brother, they are only service disciples. Why must you make things difficult for them?" The man's eyes turned cold. Shua. Seemingly teleporting, he landed in front of Dao Feng. The corners of his mouth turned cold as he laughed. "They are service disciples, you mean?" Before he could finish, his aura changed dramatically. Boom! A powerful force burst out from his palm, striking towards Dao Feng's chest. Wang Qingshan shouted loudly, "Senior brother, be careful." Dao Feng's eyes darkened. His hands moved. Both blades pulled out from the sheath on his chest. Bam! His strength was too strong. Even protecting his chest was not enough to withstand the powerful impact. So Dao Feng was directly flung out 10 meters. He pushed off with his rear foot and only managed to stabilize himself after leaning against the wall. Huh! The green dragon, Matrial Hall disciple, acted as if he had been humiliated. "A trash like you can actually block my palm strike. Then let's see what else you can do." Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Asterisk, his hands formed claws. Roar, roar, roar. Several deep dragon roars rang out in the air. They were like the roars of an azure dragon, but they were not as imposing as the dragon roars. After all, he only trained in the azure dragon claw, a type of cultivation technique. Green dragon claw. This is bad. Senior brother, run. Wang Qingshan's face was anxious at this time. He did not care about anything else, and the sword in his hand was suddenly pulled out, shockingly fast. A sword came slashing down. However, at this moment, another green dragon, Matrial Hall disciple, moved. "You like to play, right? I'll accompany you." Shua. The sword in his hand was unsheathed, and the speed at which he unsheathed, it was not slower than Wang Qingshan, maybe even by a bit, and the sword in his hand instantly released a powerful sword chi, blocking Wang Qingshan. "Ah!" Zhang Qingsong roared and started forming the array. "Too slow. Get down." A formation master from the Green Dragon, Matrial Hall, formed a formation with one hand. Before Zhang Qingsong could release the power of the formation, he opened his palm and shot out an array with one hand. The powerful force directly smashed Zhang Qingsong to the ground. Han Xueji immediately followed. She raised her speed to the limit and attacked. Just at this speed. So weak. The figure of another disciple from the Green Dragon, Matrial Hall, blurred, and like a mirage, he landed in front of Han Xueji. Without waiting for her to make a move, he punched out. Buzz. The fierce energy emitted from his fist formed an air shield. The air shield looked like it was solid. Han Xueji's speed was too fast. He simply did not have time to change his direction, and he did not have enough time to stop, so he collided head-on. Bam! His body jerked and was sent flying. His face was incomparably pale. Besides, Dao Feng's blades moved. Seeing the disciple rush forward, the pressure of the green dragon claw crushed his heart. He instantly raised his cultivation to the maximum. Ah! With a move of his two blades, his figure teleported out. Too slow. Trash is trash. With that, the azure dragon claw grabbed at the empty air. Bang! There was a dull sound. Clang. A scimitar fell down. Roar. Another claw descended and fiercely grabbed Dao Feng's other arm. Clang. The other half of the scimitar fell to the ground as well. With a loud roar, the image of a dragon claw appeared in the air and fiercely clawed at Dao Feng's head. Crush him down from the air. Boom! With a huge sound, Dao Feng's entire body smashed into the ground, causing the ground to crack and the entire logistics department to tremble. Dao Feng spat out a mouthful of fresh blood within the deep pit, and his face was deathly pale. All of this happened within a second. Arrogant Dragon Squad. 4. Instantly killed. He was completely unable to resist at all. The most important thing was that these people were only the Green Dragon Matrial Hall's level 3 disciples. Their strength completely surpassed the 4 of them. The surrounding disciples all had faces full of shock. Too strong. He's too damn strong. Green Dragon Matrial Hall is indeed the #1 college of martial arts training, the strongest one. They are only 3rd-level disciples. If they were 2nd-level or 1st-level disciples, just how strong would they be? Unimaginable. At this moment, a Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciple who did not make a move slowly walked over and coldly sneered, "Arrogant Dragon Squad. TS trash." Following that person walked in front of Dao Feng and said with contempt, "Tell Long Fei to stay far away from Teacher Oya. Otherwise, I will make him regret coming to this world." Disdain was written all over his face. They didn't put these people in their eyes at all. Moreover, he also had the right to do so, because he was the disciple of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall, the strongest existence in the God Emperor Academy. Finished. That person's gaze swept across them and sneered, "Not even worth a single blow." Return to College of Martial Arts training. The man made a soft sound and was about to leave. It was at this moment Zhang Qingsong suddenly stood up and asked, "Do you dare to leave your name behind?" Everyone was shocked. Was this person crazy? Haven't you had enough? Chapter 8:26. Disbanding of the team. Chapter 8:26. Disbanding of the team. Zhang Qingsong was looking at that person. Han Xueji was also watching. Wang Qingshan was also watching. Dao Feng also crawled out of the pit and looked at him. The man stopped and looked at Zhang Qingsong with a sneer. "What? You still want to take revenge on me?" Was he reporting about law enforcement agency? Or do you want to report to the president of your court? Zhang Qingsong shook his head and said, "No, I just wanted to let Yong Master Long know your name." Yong Master Long? Humph. He doesn't even have the right to know my name. That person laughed disdainfully as he looked at the 4 of them. "However, I'll make an exception this time. Tujan, he gave you the nickname of Butcher. I'll remember it. Tell him to stay away from Aoya. Aoya is one of us, Instructor Ouyang's women. If he dares to provoke her again, we won't forgive him." Finished. Tujan shouted, "Let's go." The surrounding disciples quickly retreated as well. This battle was simply too fierce. The Green Dragon Matrial Hall that was always quiet suddenly erupted, shocking everyone present. It also caused a great shock to the God Emperor Academy's team. They were truly too powerful. Arrogant Dragon Squad's group of 4 were all killed in an instant. This was not even the strongest disciple of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. If it was the strongest, I am afraid. One person was enough. Dao Feng sat against the wall. Wang Qingshan, Han Xueji, Zhang Qingsong, and the others were all silent. They hadn't noticed it before, but now they finally realized that they were too weak to withstand a single blow. They were also suspecting it. With his strength, would he be able to participate in the team ranking competition? How could he compete with those 4 Matrial Hall's battle teams? they would only drag Long Fei down, and would only drag him down. Without Long Fei, they were nothing. This feeling continued to surge through his mind. In a world where the powerhouse was the most respected, the competition was too cruel. The weak were all trampled on by the powerhouse. They hated themselves for being weak. Half an hour. There was no sound in the yard. Who King bullied my brother? Long Fei was furious as he descended from the skies and stepped heavily into the courtyard. It would take 2 hours to travel from the mountain valley to the logistics department. Long Fei had only used 10 minutes to travel. He was worried that something might happen to his brothers. The instant he landed, he looked at Leader Sun and the others, as well as Dao Feng and the others. He was still a step too late. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, his teeth chattering loudly. He said each word, "Green Dragon Matrial Hall." He turned around and rushed out. "I want to destroy your entire college of martial arts training." At this moment, Dao Feng, Wang Qingshan, the four of them said at almost the same time, "Young Master Long, don't go." Fat Men Chun and Man Tualuo had also rushed over and watched as the rest of the logistics department was flipped upside down. Fat Men Chun also said, "Boss, you can't go." Man Tualuo said, "Long Fei, you can't go. Green Dragon Matrial Hall is much stronger than you can imagine." Finished. She quickly took out a healing pill and gave it to him. Qiu Wandao slowly descended, looked at Long Fei's face filled with anger, and said, "Your current cultivation is indeed not a match for those super monstrous geniuses of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. Long Fei, it won't be too late for a gentleman to take revenge for 10 years. Long Fei said, "That is a gentleman. I am not a gentleman. Whoever dares to provoke my brother, I will kill them." The anger in Long Fei's heart continued to roil about. Elderly in green said, "Long Fei, if you want to step on Green Dragon Matrial Hall, you have to do so in public. Aren't Green Dragon Matrial Hall's teams strong? Then we'll step on them in the team ranking competition. This is the best way to get revenge." Sun, Data said, "Long Fei, they are right." Long Fei's personality really could not be suppressed. It wouldn't be too late for a gentleman to take revenge for 10 years. However, just as they had said, the map's speed was too fast. If one wanted to step on it, they had to step on Green Dragon Matrial Hall in front of the entire academy. Isn't Ouyang Jian a teacher in the Green Dragon Troopers? Isn't he the son of Green Dragon Matrial Hall's courtyard? Isn't that the #1 male god in God Emperor Academy? Then he would slap his face ruthlessly in front of everyone. Long Fei clenched both of his fists tightly. His nails dug into the flesh of his palms, and dark red blood started to drip down from the gaps of his fingers. Good! He endured it. He had to bear with it. It was not because of what they had said, nor was it because he was afraid. It was because he wanted to slap Green Dragon Matrial Hall in his face in front of everyone. All obstacles would become a stepping stone for him and would only make him stronger. Everyone followed suit and relaxed. It was also at this time. Dao Feng looked at Long Fei, gritted his teeth, and said, "Long Fei, I know that I shouldn't be saying these things at this time, but Long Fei, find a stronger disciple to join the team." At this time, Han Shueji also smiled faintly and said, "Damn it, sister will also leave." Wang Qingshan said, "I will also retreat." Zheng Qingsong looked at the three of them and said, "I am the most useless among them, the one who should withdraw from the team the most." They didn't want to retreat. If this continued, it would only drag Long Fei down and would only become an obstacle for Long Fei. They did not want to become a burden. Originally, they had thought that they would still be able to fight. At least, when they met Xiongfeng, they thought they could still use him a little and attack him a little. but the 4 level 3 disciples of Green Dragon, Matriel Hall, had completely destroyed their confidence just now. The difference in power was simply too great. If it was a battle of life or death, they would have been instantly killed. Rather than that, it would be better to just leave the battle and let Long Fei recruit more powerful members in order to help him. Long Fei was stunned. He looked at the 4 of them and asked, "Why?" "Senior brother Dao Feng, don't tell me you don't want to enter the top 10? Don't you want to take back everything and prove yourself?" "Senior sister Han, senior brother Wang, senior brother Zheng, none of you want to?" Man Tualuo pulled Long Fei and whispered, "They don't want to implicate you." Long Fei said, "You're implicating me? Is that your reason? In this world, one must live a wonderful life, and one must fight to their heart's content. Right now, we are weak, but we still have 2 months. Why should we admit defeat right now?" Dao Feng said, "Young Master Long, your talent, cultivation, and potential are all higher than the monsters in Green Dragon Matriel Hall, but we cannot keep up with your tempo, and will only be a burden to you. We do not wish to become your burden." He really wanted to participate. However, he would only drag Long Fei back. Long Fei said, "A single failure, and you guys turning out like this? Have you forgotten the moral of our Quanglong team? You are even crazier than a dragon above the 9th heaven, and now you all are saying that you will withdraw." Long Fei said, solemnly, "Then we might as well disband the team." Long Fei shouted in anger. There was a fire in his heart. It was not because they were crushed by the Green Dragon Matriel Hall's disciples, but because Dao Feng and the others could not recover from their defeat. What was a failure? That year, when he was smashed to the ground by Hong Tianjun. If it wasn't for Lu Luoshi kneeling down and begging for forgiveness, he would already be dead. He was the same back then, but he didn't want to see Dao Feng like this right now. Because if you are afraid, you will lose your whole life. Chapter 8:27. Hades C. Chapter 8:27. Hades C. He had to survive this trial. It would be a new world after that. His heart would become stronger. Long Fei didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to comfort them, how to let them regain their spirits. At the same time, he also knew that this blow was too heavy for them, but it wasn't a bad thing for them if they could make it through. Long Fei looked at them and said, "If you leave, then disband the team. If everyone doesn't play, then it's no use for me to play by myself. What kind of dream is this? It's all bullshit. Revenge for the blood skeleton? What a joke." Long Fei started to despise her ruthlessly. He wanted to throw the confidence of Dao Feng and the others into the abyss, because only then would he be able to undergo nirvana rebirth. Of course, it just depended on whether Dao Feng and the others could handle it. Long Fei hugged his hands and stood by the side. The atmosphere in the courtyard had turned silent, just like that. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. No one said anything. Suddenly, Zheng Qingsong suddenly stood up. "Damn it, I'm giving it my all. At worst, I'll just die. Young Master Long, I'll do it with you. In the next 2 months, even if I die, I will become stronger. My life will be hard to come by. I, Zheng Qingsong, do not want to be a coward in this lifetime. F***CK. His voice broke the silence. Wang Qingshan also stood up. "I don't want to continue being such a coward. I don't want to see the disciples of Green Dragon Matriel Hall unable to raise their heads either. I don't want teacher to know that I was defeated by a single sword strike. F***CK. Long Fei's eyes became excited, and the 3 of them looked at Han Shueji. Han Shueji smiled lightly and said, "You damned ghost, what do you want me to do?" "Huh." Xiao Ying and Man Tualuo were immediately startled and looked at Han Shueji. Long Fei laughed. "I'll let you do it." Han Shueji chuckled and said, "Then let's do it." In the end, only Dao Feng remained. Dao Feng picked up the two blades on the ground and let out a heavy breath. How many times do I have to fight in my life? So what if I die in the arena? One word, fuck. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed excitedly. He felt even better than the berserk boss. He said, "This is true madness. How about failure once? To be able to stand up again after failure and to continue fighting, that is madness." Qiu Wandao, who was standing at the side, looked at Long Fei with blazing eyes. Unknowingly, his fists were clenched tightly under his sleeves, and his blood was boiling, was infected by the spirit of Long Fei. Qiu Wandao muttered to himself, "The young master is mighty." Elderly in green was the same. "It's good to be young. I really want to be a few dozen years younger and have a fierce battle with him, turning the world upside down. Then my life would be perfect." Qiu Wandao smiled lightly. "It's not too late now." The two of them looked at Xiang Longfei at the same time. Their eyes were filled with excitement. How happy will Master be if he sees this? Ha ha ha. Mistress should be coming out soon, right? Soon. Dao Feng and the others had stepped past this hurdle. The next step was how to cultivate it. Long Fei said, "Let me introduce him to you. This is my brother Qin Tianfei, College of Martial Arts Training, and this is Man Tualuo, College of Martial Arts Training Spirit Poison. They will also join our Arrogant Dragon Squad. This is Xiaoing. She is in charge of logistics for our team." And then Long Fei walked in front of Qiu Wandao and said, "The former dean is also your teacher for the past 2 months. He will let you spend 2 months in hell. 2 months from now, I want to see you guys in a different state. Do you understand?" Qiu Wandao smiled faintly and said, "Muggles, my methods are very cruel. If you can't take it, then just leave." At this moment, Dao Feng and the others were excited. What kind of existence was the dean? He was once the most powerful powerhouse. If they could receive his guidance, then wouldn't they have to go to heaven? Dao Feng's heart burned. Wang Qingshan and the others did the same. The hot blood in their hearts burned bit by bit. In the next 2 months, they would fight to the death. He wouldn't step back, even if he had to sacrifice his life. The 4 of them did not return to their residence, and were instead brought back to the mountain hollow by the elderly in green. The courtyard was not as simple as it looked. There were too many secrets within, which was why Qiu Wandao had not left the place. Qiu Wandao looked at Long Fei and said, "I will allow them a qualitative leap within 2 months. What about you? What are you going to do next?" Long Fei said, "Breakthrough." His level was still too low. The higher one's level was, the more one would realize that the difference in strength between their levels was like the difference between heaven and earth. Long Fei asked, "Presbyter Qiu, do you know where the Sea of Hell King is?" Qiu Wandao's expression tensed up and asked, "Why do you ask about this place?" "This place is an unknown domain and also the territory of the gods' martial continent. Furthermore, it is extremely close to the Western Decil territory. It's too dangerous. You can't go there." In the Sea of Hades, a place of the dragon body tomb, Long Fei said, "I will be careful. During this time, help me take care of them and the brothers from the service courtyard." Qiu Wandao said, "Must you go?" Long Fei said, "I have to go." The more dangerous the demon beast, the stronger it was. The more there were, the higher level it would be to him. There were only 2 months until the academy competition. He had to use his absolute strength to crush everything. White Tiger Kung Fu Tribe, Green Dragon Matrial Hall. He had to overpower them. Qiu Wandao did not stop him. There was no reason for him to stop him, so he said slightly, "Long Fei, you must be careful. You must be careful of Magic Tribe. Don't let them find out who you are." Qiu Wandao was very worried in his heart. Nether King's sea was too dangerous. Millions of years ago, It was the most dangerous place in God's martial continent, and the danger level was even higher than it was in Dragon Head Mountain. The key was that was Western Desel Territory's territory. The Western Devil Lord also knew about the prophecy that only the people of the Long family could make it. All of Qiu Wandao was worried. No one could stop Long Fei from making his decision. He had to do it. He had to level up and obtain even more power. The head of the Yuan Long had already been fused. Next was the dragon's body, dragon's tail, and finally the dragon domain's dragon claws. He wanted to become the head of all dragons, looking down on the world. Qiu Wandao left. Long Fei did not stay, and directly walked towards the task hall. A green dragon matrial hall. Tu Zhan's face carried a hint of satisfaction, and said, "Teacher Ouyang, that brat is so scared that he doesn't dare to come out. What arrogant dragon squad, they're just a bunch of trash." Ouyang Jian smiled. Long Fei didn't come out, Tu Zhan said. "He doesn't dare. If he dares to come out, I will immediately make him kneel on the ground and beg for forgiveness." It was also at this time a disciple walked in and said, reporting to teacher, "Ouyang." Ouyang Jian said, "Speak." The disciple said, "I found out that Long Fei went to the task hall just now and wanted to take on a mission. I'm not sure where he is going right now." "Understood, you may leave." Ouyang Jian's eyes turned sinister as he looked at Tu Zhan. Tu Zhan's lips curled up, his eyes filled with killing intent, and said, "Disciple understands. As long as he leaves God Emperor Academy, he will be a dead man." Linglong said, "I only know when I see those spirit grass." Humph! Long Fei exhaled and said, "What other tasks does the Endless Mountains have to earn alchemy points?" Linglong replied without thinking, "I do. The Nether King's See God's Blood from the Unknown Domain is the mission with the highest points in alchemy. It's an SS grade mission with a task credit of up to 300 points. The mission lasted for 2 years, and no one has finished it yet. No one has even found that place, and there were no quest marks on it. They only knew that it was close to the Endless Mountains." Long Fei's heart trembled. Unknowing domain, Nether Kings See God's Blood. All right, this one. Long Fei made up his mind. If he could get enough points for the alchemy mission this time, then it would be for the best. Following that, Long Fei then walked towards the mission window. Linglong was shocked. She only wanted to scare Long Fei a little, but did not expect him to accept this mission, so she immediately ran over to stop Long Fei. "Senior brother, this person is too dangerous. I can't accept him. For the past 2 years, many teams have tried to challenge this quest, but none of them succeeded. Not to mention, as they got closer to the Western Desel territory, the master of magic tribes breaking through the seal became even more dangerous." Long Fei said, "Danger is fun. Being able to bring a quest out was the best." His goal was Dragon Body Tomb. Next was to break through to the next level and the best-case scenario would be the alchemy points mission, which would be placed last in the list of mission points. Green Dragon, Matrial Hall, gave him too much pressure. This forced Long Fei to reconsider whether or not he had time to participate in the alchemy competition. He had to do his best in the team ranking competition. Advancing was very important. Nether Kings see God's blood quest, Long Fei said to the window, and then handed over his identity plate. The disciple did not speak further, and helped Long Fei to record everything. Ling Long looked at Long Fei in shock. "Senior brother, you really took this mission? It's really dangerous." She had worked in the task hall for a period of time and had read through many impossible missions. The mission of the Nether Kings See God's Blood was to be ranked third in terms of being unable to complete it. The unknown domain was extremely dangerous. As they approached the infernal domain, the danger level multiplied. Ever since the Master of Magic tribe, no one went to complete the missions for the Nether Kings See God's Blood. Long Fei smiled. "I have already accepted the mission. Didn't you want to go to the Endless Mountains, S? It just happens to be along the way. So I'll bring you along with me." Ling Long was a little touched and said, "Senior brother, it can't be that you have to accept this mission because of me, right? If you finish it, you'll need to deduct points." Long Fei slightly pulled Ling Long behind him and said, "Don't be afraid." Ling Long did not look afraid. Instead, her eyes narrowed, and she entered a battle state, saying, "I am not afraid. Yo, there's also a lively girl. Ha ha ha. Brothers, today we will be able to eat meat. This little girl is so beautiful. Just one look at her will be enough to captivate people." A Magic Tribe man's eyes lit up. His Adam's apple rolled along his saliva. "Little beauty, come and play with us. Don't worry, we'll definitely make you want to die. Hee hee. Ha ha ha." Everyone else laughed. Long Fei's gaze tightened with killing intent, and the dragon salyer in his hand dropped. "You're courting death." "Ha." The chi in the air moved. A burst of Slay's power immediately shot out. The blade moved and cut. Shwa. The saber chi that was like a thin slit came slicing down. Crack. The wretched man from Magic Tribe was split into two, followed by the system's notification sound. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting 1,300 experience points, 200 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Fairy Stones 1. Instant kill. The other 7 didn't react immediately. Long Fei pulled Ling Long and suddenly rushed out of the encirclement, reminding her, "Follow behind me, don't run around." It was also at this time the other 7 disciples of Magic Tribe rushed forward. "Brat, you're dead meat. Kill him. Don't let him live." With his left hand, he protected Ling Long, and his right hand held the dragon salyer. Facing the 7 of them, he was practically slashing them one after another, slashing 6 times in a row, instantly using Slay. The system kept beeping out notifications. The last man fell to the ground in fright, both hands on the ground as he fell back. "Don't kill me! Don't kill me!" Long Fei said, "I don't mind not killing you. How many strongholds do you have in the Endless Mountains? Tell me how many there are." "I have to find out." That person immediately said, "There are 4 strongholds with a total of 1,000 people. We are only a small team. Please spare me. Don't kill me. I won't dare to do it again." He continued to plead for mercy. However, the corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted as he laughed coldly and slashed the dragon salyer in his hand. The man was so scared that his face turned pale. "I told you everything. Didn't you say you wouldn't kill me?" Long Fei said, "Is that so? Did I say that? Why can't I remember?" He had to be killed. Not killing Linglong was a disaster, and their insults to Linglong were close to death. Then again, if he were to return alive, he would definitely contact the other disciples of Magic Tribe to kill them. Right now, Long Fei had no interest to play with them. Crack! As the knife landed, the man let out a miserable scream. "You will die too, just you wait." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting 1200 EXP for defeating Magic Tribe subordinate Luo, 100 power of celestial and 10 energy values. He didn't have anything else for killing 8 people consecutively, but he received 80 points of striking energy value. Only after encountering berserk attacks from the boss did he feel good. Long Fei looked at the 8 corpses, then looked at Linglong and said, "You're not scared, right?" Linglong shook her head and said, "Senior brother, you clearly said that you won't kill him, but why did you kill him in the end?" She couldn't understand. Long Fei looked at Linglong and said, "You're too naive." He did not explain and said, "Let's go. If you don't go through some things, you'll never understand them." Growing up was like this. Linglong didn't like to kill people, and she didn't like to kill anyone, no matter who it was. Seeing Long Fei's back as he was walking further away, Linglong immediately followed him. A few minutes later, a white light flashed on the formation. 5 people appeared on the formation. Tu Zhan's small team was the group of 5 who had crushed Dao Feng in the morning. Facing any enemy, Tu Zhan liked to crush them. It was an absolute crush. So when the opponent was sprawled on the ground, he would crush them until they couldn't stand up. Thus he brought his recently formed team over. He wanted Long Fei to lie on the ground and not be able to stand up. Tu Zhan looked at the corpses around him and laughed coldly. "Seems like you still have some strength." At this time, a disciple said, "Boss, 2 people in the southwest direction. Their speed is not fast." Tu Zhan raised his gaze and said, "Chase." As soon as he finished, the 5 of them were like a jungle cheetah as they swiftly made their way out. Chapter 830, Fairy Beast. Chapter 830, Fairy Beast in Another Place. Palace Question of God. Supreme God Courtyard. 19 phantoms appeared in the courtyard. Supreme God. Long Fei went to the Sea of Hell King. Supreme God smiled faintly. His smile was filled with satisfaction and said, "Nether King's Sea Dragon Body Tomb. Looks like Long Fei is going to open up the second Dragon God's tomb." "All right. Very good, very good." The Supreme God was extremely satisfied as he said, "When he finds all the dragon tombs, then it will probably be the day the dragon domain opens." He had long since known about the Nether King's Sea's dragon body tomb. He also knew that the Wilds family did not destroy his entire clan, and that Long Wushan did not even kill a single person that day. From the looks of it, some secrets cannot be kept, 19 said lightly. "Sir, the Sea of Hell King is too close to the Western Dessel territory. Is he in danger?" Supreme God said. "He is the son of the prophecy. Even if there is danger, he will resolve it. Before, I did not understand, but now I understand. Ha ha ha." However, Supreme God thought about the Long Zhanning more than 10 years ago. At that time, nearly everything was arranged by him and his master. Only later on did he realize that they were wrong, which in turn led to the opposite. They would not make such a mistake again. What they wanted was results. As long as there were results, the process didn't matter. Supreme God said slightly, "The God Emperor Academy tournament is near. You must make all preparations. The Western Devil Lord forces are too calm during this period of time. I'm worried that an accident will happen in the tournament. You must search carefully. You cannot let the Demon Area bandits destroy the tournament." 19 said heavily, "Disciple obeys." Supreme God knew that Long Fei had gone to the Sea of Hell King. Song Qianqing of the Dark Domain also knew. He was becoming more and more interested in the Dragon Domain's secret treasures. "Qian, I'll give you one more chance." This time, you only need to help Long Fei and everything he wants to do. I just need to know the location of the dragon domain as soon as possible and the method to open it. Song Qiancheng slightly said. Song Qianqian lowered his head and did not speak. Song Qiancheng smiled faintly. If this matter is successfully completed, I will let you bring your mother away from this place, and you will regain your eternal freedom. Song Qianqian's eyes flashed with a blazing light. Freedom! This was something she desperately wanted. Song Qiancheng said, but if you are not finished, hee. The smile was very sinister. Song Qiancheng continued to speak. Then you will never be able to meet your mother, and you will never be able to think of being free either. The rest of your life will all be in my hands. Understand? Song Qianqian clenched his fists secretly and said coldly, Understood. Song Qiancheng gently lifted the hair around Song Qianqian's ears, looked at that exquisite face, and smiled. Go! When Song Qiancheng lifted her hair, her body was trembling, and she was extremely afraid. In her heart, Song Qiancheng was a demon. Song Qianqian left quickly. At this moment, an old man walked in and said, Domain Lord, do you really want to give her freedom? Then, about the marriage agreement with Master of Magic Tribe. Song Qiancheng laughed coldly. If you didn't say it, how could you make her work even more for me? As for the marriage with the Master of Magic Tribe, this matter will depend on who can obtain the Dragon Domain's secret treasure. If I get it, hee. Then this Song Qianqian. A lewd smile appeared on his face. It was very sinister and very terrifying. We'll talk about the endless mountains. Long Fei and Linglong's speed was not fast. Moreover, there were many rare spirit grass in the mountain, and they were constantly being harvested. Gathering spirit grass was her favorite thing to do, another Tier 3 immortal herb. There are so many spirit grass in this endless mountains. The more dangerous the mountain, the fewer people there would be. Naturally, there would be more immortal herbs. Long Fei also picked a few stalks from time to time, but he hunted demon beasts most of the time to open up a path for Linglong. Roar! Suddenly, a roar came from the forest. Long Fei frowned and immediately landed beside Linglong and said, 7 rating monster and beasts. Boom! Without waiting for him to finish speaking, a huge tiger with golden armor pounced forward and blocked in front of Long Fei. Armored fairy beast. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. The spirit chi on the fairy beast was very special. The spirit chi released by the fairy beast in front of him was extremely powerful. Roar! 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 The armored fairy beast released a low growl from its throat. It stared at Long Fei and drooled from its fangs. Long Fei said, You want to eat this daddy, right? Perfect. I'm hungry too. Let's see who eats who. Long Fei took a look at his striking energy value. 90 points. His heart trembled. If only I had 100 points of striking value. Even if you do not have striking energy value, you will still be blown away. Be careful. As soon as he finished, Long Fei rushed out with the devil sword in hand. With ethereal footsteps, he landed in front of the fairy beast and shouted, Come! Roar! With a roar, the powerful strength stripes on his body burst out and pounced towards Xiang Longfei. The claw slashed down like a sharp blade. Long Fei moved, insight into sword method. The devil sword in his hand moved, his body rushing down, his sword thrusting towards the fairy beast's lower jaw. Bam! The sword struck, but Long Fei was also slashed by the sharp claws, leaving 3 wounds on his chest. Tu Zhan still had a pleased smile on his face as he said, Long Fei, some people cannot be touched. Since you dare to touch teacher Ouyang's woman, then prepare to die. Now hand over that fairy beast, and I will let you die without pain Tu Zhan said with contempt. He didn't think that there would be another gift for killing Long Fei. Grade 4 immortal roots should be able to sell for a lot of fairy stones. They just so happen to be lacking fairy stones for cultivation to be able to compete in the academy competition after 2 months. Long Fei's gaze also became cold, as he said solemnly, "Oh, Yang Jian, how dare you?" Tu Zhan immediately shouted out, "Teacher's name, how can you, a trash from Nantian region, call it? Now, I order you to get out of my way." And then, Long Fei glanced at Ling. Long Fei's gaze shifted as he said, faintly, "It's not too late for a gentleman to take revenge, as this father will never take revenge overnight. You delivered it yourselves. Then go to hell." To Tu Zhan, killing Long Fei meant giving away his fairy beast, but to Long Fei, it meant killing his own enemy. The anger in his heart never faded. If they did not stop them, Long Fei would have definitely charged towards the Green Dragon Matrial Hall, but he did not expect that these people would actually come to this place to kill him. "That's perfect. It was exactly what he wanted," Long Fei shouted, and said, "You want the fairy beast, right? Come and get it if you dare." Tu Zhan frowned. "Are you looking to die?" "Charge." One of the disciples' claws moved, and 2 dragon roars sounded out in the air. The 2 claws were like dragon claws, grabbing onto Xiang Longfei's throat. He said in a heavy tone, "Get down." At this moment, inside Longfei's body, "Oh, big brother Azure Dragon, someone is using the Azure Dragon Claw. So powerful. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha." All the dragons burst into laughter. Green Dragon Ancestor had a bitter face. "Green Dragon Claw? This is more like chicken feet." Following that, Green Dragon Ancestor roared in anger, "Boss, let him experience the real Green Dragon Claw." Long Fei stared blankly before replying, "Understood." Suddenly, the power of the Green Dragon Ancestor burst out from Long Fei's body. It could be said that even the old fire of the Green Dragon Ancestor was up, and he could still use the Azure Dragon Claw in front of, door to door. But you have to make it look better. Long Fei's claws moved. Roar, roar. 2 true Azure Dragon roars rang out, and the draconic roars shook the entire area. The face of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciple sank. He was so shocked by the dragon roar in the sky that his mind trembled. Long Fei's claws struck out. "I'll let you experience the real Green Dragon Claw." Bam! Attacking with just one move, Long Fei gave up on killing the fairy beast because he still needed 10 points of energy values. So he looked at the Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciple and shouted, "Explode for me!" Boom! The paw print on Long Fei's 5 fingers suddenly turned into a real dragon claw image, grabbing the man's head. One stomp. Crack. His entire head was split open and blown apart. Half of his body swayed as he stood there unsteadily. With a plop, he fell to the ground, blood spewing out from his mouth. One-hit kill. And at the same time, he was using the Azure Dragon Claw, the real Azure Dragon Claw. The Green Dragon Ancestor disdainfully said, "Pa, you call it the Azure Dragon Claw just like that. You really make me lose face." And then Green Dragon Ancestor's aura retracted and disappeared from Long Fei's body. Long Fei also said in disdain, "Is this how trash the Green Dragon Matrial Hall is? Cannot withstand a single blow." Disdain. Quite contemptuous. This person had instantly killed Dao Feng in the morning, and his Green Dragon Claws fiercely crushed Dao Feng. But right now Long Fei was using the same move to kill him. This made the anger in the hearts of Tu Zhan, and the other 3 burst out. It was not because Long Fei had killed their brother, but because Long Fei had humiliated the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. Tu Zhan shouted, "Long Fei!" Long Fei immediately laughed. "Why are you calling out to your father?" Tu Zhan was enraged. "I will kill you." Long Fei laughed coldly and said, You go to the side first. I still have some things to do first. It was also at this time. The system sounded out. Long Fei did not care what he shouted, but rather he looked at his striking energy value, which just happened to reach 100 points. With a move of his feet, he used all his strength and heavily punched the fairy beast. Explode for me! Chapter 832, Rosefinch Blood Vessel. Chapter 832, Rosefinch Blood Vessel. 100 energy values were gathered. Without waiting for even a second, Long Fei's fists were like thunder, directly smashing the fairy beastess to the ground. Tu Zhan's eyes darkened. Are you crazy? A 4th stage fairy beast. If he were to kill it, there would be nothing left, and his immortal foundation would disappear too. Would his immortal foundation, which was worth tens of thousands of fairy stones, disappear just like that? Was this person retarded? Even Ling Long could not understand. Why did Long Fei want to kill this fairy beast? That was an immortal foundation. Boom! The blood on top of the fairy beast's head fell. Long Fei killed it very accurately. And the other was that the war tiger was an illusion clone. At that moment, his clone also quickly disappeared. The system sounded out, and Long Fei immediately said, "Release berserk ability points." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 experience for killing 4th rank fairy beast, 1,000 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining battle armor immortal root. You wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining illusion immortal root. You wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining War Tiger S. Do you wish to fuse them? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Illusion World. Do you wish to cultivate it? The system sounded out continuously. Long Fei was completely dumbfounded. Twin immortal roots. A fairy beast could only produce 1 type of immortal root, but Long Fei could obtain 2 immortal roots in an instant, not because the war tiger was a twin immortal root fairy beast, but because of his berserk power. 100 energy values points were not fake. After releasing berserk, his chance of exploding would increase 10-fold, 100-fold, or even 10,000 times faster when his luck exploded. This was the charm of berserk. It was a complete mess. Ding! The war tiger was swallowed by the dragon Salyer. Before the dragon Salyer devoured him, Yan Huang ancestor refined a little bit of the war tiger. He had mastered more than 10 different types of blood vein, and he knew how to refine all kinds of people that Long Fei killed, demon beast, fairy beast, boss, and he would refine even a little bit of the blood vein's power. He wanted to create a unique blood vein for Long Fei. The strongest blood vein. Fantasy world. What kind of cultivation technique is this? Long Fei looked through the system to see the stats of the fantasy world. Ding! System notification. Unable to check, player needs to fuse with an illusion technique to be able to cultivate this skill. It's still linked together. Long Fei muttered in his heart. The idea moved fusion of an illusion technique with the immortal foundation. He was now a 9th level madman. If he wanted to step into the virtual immortal stage, he would have to fuse with a 4th grade immortal foundation, which could be considered a top grade immortal foundation. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100 experience points for fusing with Illusion Celestial Root, Power of Celestial 100 points, and 100 points as a special reward. Cultivate. Long Fei moved and pressed on the fantasy cultivation technique. At the same time, he opened the system to check. Cultivation technique, fantasy world grade, divine grade consumption, 10,000 power of celestial S. Description: this is an illusion. Once it is used, the opponent will be affected by the illusion, and the user will be able to control the illusion. Damn! An illusion technique. Long Fei had thought that it was a spatial technique, but this illusion technique could also be considered a spatial technique. As long as his opponent fell for his illusions, Long Fei could take control of his life. Long Fei only used a few seconds to check the items. The fairy beast was killed by him, causing Tu Zhan to be unable to contain his anger. He stared at Long Fei with eyes filled with rage, but he could not understand why. He didn't even want a tear for Immortal Foundation? Of course. If he could figure it out, then what the hell was Long Fei doing? Since the fairy beast was already dead, he did not have to worry about anything anymore. His gaze turned cold as he stared at the two brothers on the other side and shouted, "Kill this woman for me! Kid, if you kill the fairy beast, I'll kill your woman." Not only her, Chen Tianfei, Man Tuoyuo, Xiaoying, Dao Feng, Han Xueji, Zheng Qingsong, Wang Qingshan, and the others all have to die. Before coming here, he had already investigated everything about Long Fei. If you cut the grass, you have to get rid of the roots. As long as they found the opportunity, these people would all die. Long Fei's eyes became cold. "You are from the Pan family?" Tu Zhan coldly snorted and said, "I am from the Green Dragon Matrial Hall." "Kill them all." With a roar, the disciple holding on to Ling Long's throat glared at her with killing intent. Exerting force through his fingers, Ling Long's throat said hoarsely, "Senior brother, quickly leave." "Leave? Humph. Let's go to the infernal realm," Tu Zhan sneered. He did not place Long Fei in his eyes at all. Long Fei also did not think of leaving. In this lifetime, he would absolutely not flee again. Looking at Ling Long's pale face, Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Let me see just what kind of power this illusory realm is." The idea moved and thought, flower of myriad manifestation. Buzz. Imperceptibly, the power of her idea rushed out, easily entering the mind of the disciple who was grabbing onto Ling Long's throat. Ding! Release successful. One move was a success. Long Fei was also surprised. He suddenly thought of the disciple. This should be the illusion he controlled. Long Fei ordered, "Relax." The man instantly let go of Long Fei's hand, and with a move of the idea, he ordered him to walk to Tu Zhan's side. Tu Zhan was surprised for a moment and said, "OL3, what are you doing? I told you to kill her." "Pa." As the slap landed, Tu Zhan's eyes darkened and his reaction speed increased as he kicked out. Bam! The other party had sent him flying with a kick. "Third bro, are you courting death?" Tu Zhan's eyes turned sinister. He looked at the other disciple and said, "Kill her for me?" That person reacted and took a step forward. At the beginning, Ling Long had been careless, and her survival experience outside was not enough. She did not know that the human heart was dangerous, but this was also because she was too naive. However, this time she reacted. The moment that person struck down with his palm, Long Fei's gaze darkened and said in a loud voice, "Little junior sister," not waiting for him to finish. Boom! A pair of wings suddenly appeared on Ling Long's back. It was colorful and dazzling. A powerful force burst out from the wings and sent the Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciple flying. As for her, she instantly flew into the air, her figure invisibly appearing like a divine bird. Everyone was shocked. He didn't know how to react. The Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciple who was sent flying immediately cracked his chest. His internal organs had already shattered, and he was instantly killed. This power was too terrifying. Just a single shake was enough to kill a genius. Long Fei had to admit that he was stunned. "What's the situation?" Long Fei muttered. "Isn't she a weak little junior sister? How did you become so strong?" Yan Huang ancestor said in shock, "Rosefinch blood vessel." Long Fei said to the ancestor, "Ancestor, leave the 4th grade Immortal Foundation for me. The other things will be yours." At this time, Long Fei needed the Immortal Foundation. Dao Feng, Han Xueji, Wang Qingshan, Fat Men Chen, Xiao Ying, and the others needed to fuse with a fourth-grade Immortal Foundation. Since they were going to start a war with the Green Dragon, Matrial Hall, they had to make preparations. Long Fei had once said that he would definitely allow Dao Feng and the others to soar into the sky. He wanted to create a power that belonged solely to him. Long Fei, he had killed 3 people with a single palm strike. The strong force quickly devoured Long Fei's body, causing Long Fei's body to sink down. He was barely able to stand steadily, as he was forced to retreat several steps back. Linglong quickly flew down and supported Long Fei. "Senior brother, are you all right?" Long Fei's face was very pale, and his body was extremely exhausted. This was because the power of the Big Day Tashigata was too strong, causing his body to be unable to endure, which was why such a situation would occur. However, it was much better than the first time. The first time, he directly fainted. During this period of time, whether it was in the Dragon Head Mountain or the Shili Desert, Long Fei's physical body was constantly improving, breaking through his limits time and time again, allowing his physical body's endurance to become extremely strong. Otherwise, he would have fainted again. Huff! Long Fei exhaled a heavy breath and muttered to himself, "This time, I finally managed to resist, and I didn't faint." And then, Long Fei smiled lightly at Linglong and said, "I'm fine. Little junior sister never thought that you would have such a powerful rosefinch blood vessel." Linglong giggled and said, "I'm sorry about that, senior brother. I don't like the martial arts training. I prefer alchemy." She rarely cultivated, so no one would discover her blood vein. Otherwise, they would definitely shock the entire God Emperor Academy. The rosefinch blood vessel was an ancient blood vein, after all. Maybe he would even be selected by the palace question of Goddess. Long Fei said, "Do as you wish, do not overly suppress yourself. You are the inheritor of the ancient divine beast. There must be a reason why it chose you." Linglong said, "Junior sister will remember. In the future, junior sister will not suppress his heart. It will become stronger, hee. However, compared to my rosefinch blood vessel, senior brother's palm just now was very strong, filled with dense Buddhist light. Is this holy Buddhahood's cultivation technique? Could it be that the senior brother is someone from the holy Buddhahood? The holy Buddhahood only existed in teleportation. The Buddhist light shone everywhere, and the holy power was boundless." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "No, you still know holy Buddhahood." Linglong said, "I also read about it in an ancient book in Secret History Pavilion. It seems like that book was also fabricated. Humph, to think I still believed it. Very naughty, very cute." Long Fei sat on the ground and panted heavily, then said, "My body is currently extremely weak, and I need to rest for a few hours to recover." Linglong immediately said, "Senior brother, I will act as your protector and will absolutely not let anyone hurt you." Long Fei smiled faintly and swallowed a pill. He closed his eyes slightly, allowing his body to relax and recover quickly. It's up ahead." That giant golden palm imprint was in the valley ahead. God Emperor Academy's son of a bitch dares to come here and act so atrociously. Lousy will make sure they never return. In the forest, the disciples of Magic Tribe quickly chased after them. The 8 disciples of Magic Tribe, being killed along with the huge palm, just now had caused all the disciples in the Magic Tribe stronghold to wake up from their stupor. At the same time, they surrounded Long Fei and the others. Half an hour later, hundreds of disciples of Magic Tribe were coming closer and closer. Linglong frowned. She had already sensed many powerful auras, looking at Long Fei, who was meditating behind her, her 2 little fists clenched tightly. "I will definitely not let anyone hurt senior brother." While they were talking, Her exquisite body moved, and her two gorgeous wings were revealed. Half a minute later, dozens of Magic Tribe S arrived first. Looking at the wings on Ling Long's back, their expressions changed. Divine bird blood vein? Catch her, strip her off her blood vein. There's another wounded man over there. Kill that man, bring the woman away. The master of Magic Tribe needs this kind of strong, ancient blood vein. Hee hee. Ling Long was not afraid. Her eyebrows moved and said, I will definitely not let you hurt senior brother. She rushed out. Chapter 834, Giving Out Experience in One Waves. Chapter 834, Giving Out Experience in One Waves. Bang, bang, bang. Ling Long made continuous moves, blocking more than 10 Magic Tribes. Even though she had a strong blood vein, she was only one person after all. Furthermore, her cultivation was only arrogant, immortal state, and she wasn't adept in battle. So how could she be a match for him? Boom. Ling Long was sent flying with a slap, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. Without waiting for more than 10 people to come close, her wings moved once again, and she rushed forward. I will definitely not let you hurt the senior brother. He was incomparably resolute. A Magic Tribe sneered. Oh, he's your little lover, right? What can a weak body like his give you? Let's see our powerful physiques. They will definitely be able to make you feel good. Ha ha ha. Little beauty, it's better for you to obediently surrender. We'll take pity on you. Ha ha ha. Many people laughed. It was also at this time the 100 surrounding disciples of Magic Tribe as tightly surrounded the two of them. They watched her eyes light up. If Ling Long were to fall into their hands, I'm afraid. Infuriated, Ling Long rushed forward again. The Magic Tribe as quickly retreated. On the other side, another group of disciples of Magic Tribe S rushed towards Xianglong Fei. Little beauty, we're going to kill your little lover. Ling Long turned around and flew over to stop the other group. Immediately after, the disciples of Magic Tribe, on the other side, rushed at Xianglong Fei. Ling Long flew over again. She was like a ball being played by these disciples of Magic Tribe. These disciples of Magic Tribe S all laughed at her and laughed at her loudly. There were more and more disciples of Magic Tribe in the valley, and the disciples of the 4 strongholds had basically all gathered here. Half an hour later, Ling Long gasped. The power of Celestial in her body was almost exhausted. Long Fei still sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. Little beauty, you're almost unable to endure it, right? Are you going to follow us? We will make you happy. Ha ha ha. At this moment, the encirclement continued to shrink, and Ling Long was also retreating, but she had been protecting Long Fei behind her all along. Looking at the surrounding disciples of Magic Tribe who was walking over, she said, I won't let you hurt senior brother. You all had better leave quickly, and once senior brother recovers, none of you will be able to leave. See the deep pit here? It is the powerful palm technique released by senior brother. Ha ha ha. Little beauty, you want to scare us to death. If your senior brother is powerful, let him make a move. Hurry up, I'm so scared. You know where this is? This is the territory of our demon area. You trashy god Emperor Academy. S will all die if you behave atrociously in our territory, but you are an exception. Long Fei's body released a wild aura. Bam! Bam! One after another, disciples of Magic Tribe after another suddenly fell, as if they had seen a ghost. At the same time, Long Fei and his system beep also crazily sounded out, one after another. There's a ghost! There's a ghost! Ah! A sudden, miserable scream rang out. The disciples of Magic Tribe was in a mess, looking at the dead bodies around him. It was as if they had seen a ghost. And then, the leading few Magic Tribe S immediately shouted, Retreat! Retreat! everyone quickly retreat. Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he laughed coldly. You want to leave after acting tough? Does Lousy agree? Moreover, the bodies of the S that were leading the group were glowing with a golden light. They could not be considered bosses, but they were also elite monsters that they could not let go of. Long Fei held Ling Long's small hand with one hand and said gently, "Follow me closely." Ling Long's cheeks blushed as she nodded. "Yes. Kill." Long Fei's spear moved. The aura of the sky-burning dragon gun erupted. With one spear shot, it pierced a person's head. Chase after him. They were frantically chasing and killing. Half an hour later, Long Fei killed an elite magic tribe with a single spear strike, then looked at his striking attribute. Release 100 points of energy values. Explode for me. The system beeped. Ding. Black Dragon Ancestor let out a light sigh and said softly, "But the amount of time left for eldest brother is too little. 5 years is too short. Even if the eldest is able to activate the dragon race's strongest power, he would only be able to recover to the peak of 6 million years ago. At that time, he wouldn't be able to withstand the tribulation. But now, the black dragon did not continue. Indeed, 6 million years ago, it couldn't withstand it. But now, can it? Black dragon ancestors, words were like a bucket of cold water being poured over them. All the other dragons fell silent. Tribulation. Long Fei was still just a virtual immortal stage. Not to mention resisting the tribulation, it was hard enough to reach the peak of the Yuan long as 6 million years ago. How could he be an opponent? How could he resist that sort of powerful tribulation? He couldn't block it. Long Fei could not hear what they were saying. He looked at the ancient treasure map from the space ring and asked excitedly, "The Transu's treasure map? Are there many, many treasures?" Ling Long was stunned for a moment and said, "Senior brother, you mean the Transu's lost continent?" "Huh. Lost continent." Long Fei was startled and asked, "You know about this?" Ling Long said, "Secret History Pavilion has many ancient books. I have read them, and the lost continent of Transu has some records too, but these are all events that happened millions of years ago. The records are very vague. It was only the strongest empire in the west of the Transu that held faith in the gods. It was also because of the great calamity that sank the continent that the Transu was in, causing it to be buried in the ocean forever. None of the members of the Transu escaped, and this calamity was known as the gods' punishment. I don't know what it means." Long Fei looked at Ling Long and said, "A secret history from millions of years ago. That was the book on the 6th floor of the Secret History Pavilion. Ling Long, can you read the book on the 6th floor with your power?" The 6th floor of Secret History Pavilion required a huge amount of energy to flip through the books. Long Fei at least had not reached that level yet. The last time was also Song Qianqian. He had barely been able to flip through the clan rankings. But Long Fei did not expect Ling Long to be able to flip through the books on the 6th floor. Ling Long giggled and said, "I used the power of the Rosefinch blood vessel." "All right." Long Fei immediately sagged for a while and muttered in his heart, "The strength of the blood vein again. Sigh? When will I be able to fuse a super strong blood vein?" Too self-conscious. The further a blood vein's power was, the more it could be displayed, and a person's innate talent was mostly determined by the blood vein in their body. Yen Huang Ancestor said, "It's going to be soon. It's going to be soon. It won't be long." "Brat, you can't eat hot tofu in such a hurry. Why are you in such a hurry with me around?" Long Fei muttered and said, "It's precisely because you're here that I'm anxious." Yen Huang Ancestor. Long Fei continued to ask about the treasure map. "Little junior sister, do you want to go with me to search for treasures?" The treasure map. The lost continent of Transu. The punishments of an Empyrean god. Just these things alone made Long Fei a little unable to hold back. Furthermore, the most crucial point was that the Transu was in the sea in hell, and it might be related to the dragon body tomb. And then again, Long Fei really needed money. The Yin soldiers had not leveled up for some time. If they did not rebel, Long Fei would become even more furious. The Yin soldiers' combat power was too strong, and it could easily become a pair of scissors, a fatal knife. If possible, Long Fei really wanted to train them into flying Immortal Peak Realm and sweep through all of Heaven Realm. Linglong asked excitedly, "Can I?" Wow. The Transu's lost continent. Maybe it has many unknown spirit grass. Maybe it has some mysterious pill formulas. Ling Long only had pills in her eyes. Her hobby was alchemy. She who had the Rosefinch blood vessel chose Elixir Martial Arts branch, not Rosefinch Martial Art College. Hearing her words, Long Fei became even more excited and said, "Maybe there really is the super pill formulas from millions of years ago. When that time comes, we can change the entire pattern of pills in the entire continent." Treasure map. Without treasures, how could it be called a treasure map? I never thought that Berserk would actually drop such a good item. Long Fei was excited, and he muttered, "There are no treasures in the ancient giant coffin. This Transu's treasure map definitely has some hidden treasures. Ancestor, just wait for the heavens. My Hellcore, all of you, prepare to ascend to the heavens." Ha ha ha. At this moment, as if hearing Long Fei's words, Hellcore started to slaughter even more frantically. The system beep in Long Fei's body continuously rang out. The lady's eyes did not move. She only stared at Long Fei. Following the woman's gaze, he also saw Long Fei. At the same time, he also saw Ling Long, who was beside Long Fei. A lustful look flashed across her eyes, and she said excitedly, "I really got lucky today. I didn't expect to meet two great beauties in one day." And then the vulgar man shouted, "Bring me those two people. If anyone dares to disobey, break that man's legs. Don't touch that woman. Whoever dares to touch him, I'll cripple him." Women were meant to be spoiled. Long Fei was still hungry, so she walked to the entrance of the Endless City. Looking at the word "endless" on the city gate reminded him of the first time she had received a reward from the god's Phoenix Pavilion system. He thought to himself, one more infinity sword would be great. When they entered the city, they were suddenly blocked. "Our boss invites you. You better behave, otherwise I will make you lie on the ground and become a dead dog." Two big-sized men blocked Long Fei's way. A roadblock, very arrogant. "I think all of you really want to become dead dogs." Long Fei was about to say something, but when he raised her eyes, she saw a woman at the restaurant's window, an extremely beautiful woman who was staring at him without blinking. Long Fei was startled. "Song Qianqian?" The wretched man and the other three hurriedly crawled their way out, escaping to a safe distance. The man shouted in anger, "Kid, just you wait. I'll kill you." After he finished speaking, he swiftly dashed into the crowd. Long Fei didn't pay any attention to him. "I'll endure you once, twice, not now." Song Qianqian looked at Long Fei and said, "He is the nephew of the Endless City's city lord." Long Fei laughed. "Seems like you understand me quite well. You wouldn't have been waiting for me here since long ago, right?" Song Qianqian did not hide anything, and she knew that she could not hide it either. It was impossible for such a coincidence to exist in this world. So she smiled and said, "I know that you are going to the Sea of the Underworld Kings." Long Fei was startled and looked at Song Qianqian. Song Qianqian slightly said, "Dragon Body Tomb." At this moment, Long Fei was startled. He then laughed and said, "Seems like your dark domain's Chenji City is very strong. Even I know that you are looking for your Dragon Body Tomb. Did you place someone by my side?" He had no choice but to doubt it. Moreover, even if Long Fei had someone planted beside him, Long Fei had never told anyone that he was going to the dragon body tomb. Song Qianqian said, "Our people went to the Shili Desert. The dragon body tomb map was stolen. I think it should be you." Song Qianqian laughed and said, "I didn't expect you to be an expert at stealing things." Long Fei moved forward slightly and laughed. "I'm also an expert at stealth." Their eyes met. Long Fei wanted to see through Song Qianqian. Song Qianqian also wanted to see through Long Fei, so there seemed to be sparks flying in the middle of them. Finally, Song Qianqian was defeated. He withdrew his gaze and looked elsewhere, and said, "Hurry up and leave, otherwise you'll be surrounded by the endless city's guards." Long Fei shrugged and said, "I'm not afraid with you here." "Right. Let me introduce you, little junior sister Linglong." "Linglong, this is Dark Domain's Song Qianqian," Long Fei said. Linglong had been silently standing behind Long Fei, just like an obedient maid. Linglong obediently replied, "Sister Qian Qian." Song Qianqian looked at Linglong. "Little sister Linglong, this rogue didn't bully you, right?" Linglong shook her head and said, "Senior brother is fine. He wouldn't bully me. He protected me the whole way. I didn't do anything." Song Qianqian looked at Linglong, saw her speaking with a small dimple at the corner of her mouth, then looked at her expression, and said, "Seems like you really know how to hide your feelings and also how to steal a woman's heart." Long Fei said straightforwardly, "What about your heart? Let me steal it." Song Qianqian's eyes turned cold, then laughed. "That depends on your ability. Let's go. I've prepared everything." Chapter 838. I am changing. Chapter 838. I am changing one immortal crystal and 100,000 fairy stones. 50 of them was equivalent to 5 million fairy stones. At the very least, it should be able to raise the overall level of the Shadow Squad by several times, right? Looking at the immortal crystals on the table, Long Fei took them without thinking. Don't take them for free. Moreover, right now, he really needed immortal crystals. Yan Huang Ancestor was so happy that it felt like it was New Year. He swallowed his saliva and said, "What day is it today?" Before he could finish, his mouth was already full. Long Fei disdainfully said, "Ancestor, don't just sit around eating. You also want to test my hell core." Looking at the patriarch, throw them into his mouth one by one. Long Fei felt his heart ache. Yan Huang Ancestor said, "Brat, I'm not full. Where would I get the resources to help them cultivate?" Long Fei said, "All right, since you are the boss then." At this moment, Song Qianqian looked at Long Fei and said, "Can we go now?" Long Fei asked, "Do you still have more immortal crystals?" Song Qianqian looked at Long Fei and said, "What do you want so many immortal crystals for? You train in the Tao of Death. You use slaughter as a way to break through. You don't even need immortal crystals." Long Fei replied, "Who doesn't like immortal crystals? I don't even have a little junior sister like her." Linglong immediately said, "Senior brother, immortal crystals are too precious. I do not need them." Long Fei picked up the pellets on the table and threw them to Linglong, then said, "The pellets here are all of high quality. You keep them, since our thousands of big sisters only have pellets." Dark Domain Song family. What kind of family was this? In the past, Long Fei might not know, but ever since then, he had specially checked it out. The Song family was the ruler of the Dark Domain. Song Qianqing was even the Dark Domain's ruler, who took over the entire Dark Domain. This kind of tycoon would definitely be rich. Song Qianqian replied, "There are still some more pills. I don't have any more immortal crystals." 50 immortal crystals was all she had. In the distance, boom, 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 boom. At the entrance of the street, 2 rows of guards walked over in unison. Their murderous auras were overflowing with menace. Ling Long said lightly, "Senior brother, let's hurry up and go." Long Fei looked at Song Qianqian and said, "Since there are so many things here, let's go." Song Qianqian's sudden appearance caused Long Fei to shiver slightly, and after the previous test, he discovered that Song Qianqian couldn't wait to get to the sea in hell. She was more anxious than Long Fei. What was it for? Long Fei didn't know, but he really wanted to know. The three of them walked out of the tavern. The guards quickly rushed up, led by the vulgar man. Chapter 839, Giant Beast Under Deep Sea. Chapter 839, Giant Beast Under Deep Sea. As soon as he finished, Long Fei fiercely jumped into the ocean and ferociously dived in. "The Emperor has appeared." "Rumble!" Long Fei, who had jumped into the sea, moved, whether or not he would leave the mountain sea scripture mode system and become an emperor. Then he suddenly flew into the air, his voice resonating in Song Qianqian and Ling Long's mind. "You two, jump up." The two girls were stunned. Song Qianqian instantly jumped on it. Ling Long did not want to be outdone and followed him. The captain looked at the gigantic emperor, his face extremely pale, and immediately peed his pants in fright. "Mama, I want to go home. I want to go home." "Rumble!" Emperor dived back into the water, causing a huge wave that overturned the sky. Song Qianqian and Ling Long tightly held onto each other. Both of them had water-repelling pearl on them, so they were not worried about the pressure in the water or breathing. Long Fei quickly rushed towards Death Gate. "Death Gate, right. I want to see how you will die." Long Fei's body drilled into the ground, disappearing into the depths. As they got closer and closer to the black vortex, the sea water continued to emit rumbling sounds. It was so deafening that no one could withstand it. The closer they got, the louder the sounds became, and the stronger the force became. An extremely strong suction force that even the gigantic emperor couldn't withstand caused Long Fei to struggle with all his might as he roared in his heart, unparalleled at level 5. "Open!" Rumble! Long Fei's body exploded, his power tumbling, barely able to control his body. The idea sent a sound transmission to them. "All of you hold tight." His body moved, and his speed increased. Long Fei was already close to the edge of the whirlpool, where he could see the sky. His body was also unceasingly moving, and below him, it really was like a gigantic mouth of death was devouring everything. This was truly just like a death gate. Long Fei could not accept it, and roared angrily, "Do I need to be afraid of a whirlpool?" In front of the huge suction force, not to mention the huge emperor, even the aircraft carrier would not be able to withstand it. This wasn't it. The most important thing was that what Long Fei was really doing to resist the strong suction force was very strong. In the depths of the turbid ocean, a golden light flashed, and the golden light became stronger and stronger. In the end, it was as dazzling as the sun. Song Qianqian shouted loudly, "There's a demon beast." They could not see the golden light, but Long Fei could see it clearly. Long Fei was excited. "Damn, to think that we would be fighting a boss at this time. The heck is he trying to take my life?" It was a boss, and a super boss at that.